You guys, the journalists are upset. They're really sad, you guys. Everybody's being mean to them and they're saying mean things. Well, I don't really give a shit. Everybody hates you, and you deserve to be hated. You absolutely deserve it. There is no portion of society more vile, more small, more pathetic, and disgusting. You guys, the journalists, I don't really give a shit. Everybody hates you. You guys, the journalists, overwhelming 98% of them. Absolutely disgusting. You're the cause, the absolute root cause. Everything that's happened the last couple of years, all the crimes, all the theft, all the bullshit, all the gaslighting, you made it all possible. You guys, the journalists, I don't really give a shit. Everybody hates you. You guys, the journalists, you didn't ask questions, you didn't do your job, you took that corporate money, didn't you? I don't really give a shit. Everybody hates you. You took that big money, so you sit there and lie and obfuscate and run cover for billionaires and pharmaceutical companies and all the rest of it. In the meantime, you're printing your newspapers out. The unvaccinated should be banned from grocery stores. You guys, the journalists, I don't really give a shit. Do they even deserve to have rights? Should we tolerate these people? What's to be done with the unvaccinated people? You guys, the journalists, I don't really give a shit. Everybody hates you. The journalists. You fucking psychos, and now you want to cry? You're gonna cry to everybody else? Cry to the police? Oh, please. I thought we were defunding the police. That's a different conversation. Oh, help us, people saying mean things. You know how many people you've contributed to murdering themselves and suicide? You're not talking about that. You're not talking about the drug overdoses, the amount of fentanyl flooding into this country, and all the rest of the shit that's going on. You're just doing whatever the giant talking head tells you to do. Whatever comes down the Associated Press wire, whatever it is, just say it. Just write it. Doesn't matter. And when you do, would some of you even attempt to come out like fish face there, right? Hi, Rachel, you dumb bitch. You're a fucking joke. Go make a TikTok video about Sprite versus Fanta. You think you're a journalist? Holy shit! Give her a Pulitzer. My God, this is the bottom of the fucking barrel. There it is. Hi, Rachel, you in there? Are you in there? Bottom of the barrel. That's where we're at. This is absolutely insane now. And now they're crying about it. Oh, you guys, the journalists. Everybody hates you, and you deserve to be hated. You guys, the journalists. Everybody hates you, and you deserve to be hated. You guys, the journalists. I don't really give a shit. You guys, the journalists. Everybody hates you. I don't really give a shit. The journalists. The journalists. Everybody hates you, and you deserve to be hated. You absolutely deserve it.
Have a terribly negative and hurtful impact. And I think that it is important for all of us to understand that words have power. Words have meaning. Words have meaning. Words have meaning. Words have meaning. Words have meaning.
This so-called convoy actually seeded the ground, in my opinion, for the worst display of Nazi, racist,
Conspiracy theories, far-right, misogynist conspiracy theories,
Nazi, racist,
conspiracy theories, far-right, misogynist conspiracy theories.
And that means we are going to work with provinces and territories on vaccination certifications, on vaccination passports, so that everyone can be safe. And what's more, the federal government has announced we're going to pay for the development of those privileges that you get once you get vaccinated, because everyone needs to get vaccinated, and those people are putting us all at risk. You people, those people, 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 you people, you people, you people, you people,
Because
racist, conspiracy theory, far-right misogynist, conspiracy theory, Nazi, racist, conspiracy theory, far-right misogynist, conspiracy theory, Nazi, racist, conspiracy theory, far-right misogynist, conspiracy theory, Nazi, racist, conspiracy theory, far-right misogynist, conspiracy theory.
You deserve a government that's going to continue to say, get vaccinated. And you know what? If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train beside vaccinated people and put them at risk. We need to be strong in the decisions we're taking going forward, and we need to put people first.
Nazi,
Anti-vax,
racist,
anti-vax, far-right, anti-vax, conspiracy theories.
Nazi,
Anti-vax,
racist,
anti-vax, far-right, anti-vax, conspiracy theories.
Nazi,
Anti-vax,
racist,
anti-vax, far-right, 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 far-right,
trying to scare people into putting their own lives at risk, and I won't apologize for doing that.
Hey everyone, welcome to the EdgeStream. It's good to be back. Another Tuesday night. I'm so glad you're all here with me tonight. I'm here with a special guest co-host tonight, Greg Wycliffe. How are you doing tonight? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Greg Wycliffe. It's great to be here on the EdgeStream. And I ran for politics in 2019. I started making content, and now I'm here on government watch lists, along with all you guys, fighting for the country, fighting for what's right. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on, man. We have a lot to talk about tonight. This whole Hategate thing is blowing up. I believe it was last Tuesday that this Hategate expose got released. Caryma, Elisa, Hategan co-wrote this paper together. That was based on a FOIPOP, so it's like a Freedom of Information Access request that had over 1,000 pages based on what the RCMP and different intelligence agencies here in Canada were talking about, specifically Diagolon. And you guys all know Diagolon, the fake meme country group that, it's not just a fake meme country group. It's something that we could all rally behind as something that could give us inspiration, and we could find our friends amongst some online content that has comedic value. It has some political empowerment, and of course, at the end of the day, as you'll see, as even the RCMP and CSIS and all the intelligence agencies finally admit, even after the mainstream media and especially our enemies, specifically the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, they all impugned us, and they acted like we were the most significant threat that is facing Canada, and the government actually acted upon that false, slanderous, defamatory, not information, opinions from far left radicals. So we're going to be looking into that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, and it's, what was revealed in the Foy Pop. I mean, it's kind of validating when even the RCMP agrees with us. Even the RCMP is like, yeah, this is not a terrorist group. This isn't even a group necessarily. So it's been super vindicating and validating for a lot of us since the convoy, especially Jeremy McKenzie and members of Diagolon, which are members. Well, it's just fans of his podcast, right? But yeah, I mean, it's been super vindicating, especially because it's interesting to like address how we kind of knew this when it was happening. We kind of knew they were working off of false information. And the information was pretty well there. It's really like, it must be, I didn't watch Jeremy's last stream, but it must be kind of frustrating for him because, and this is relevant to what we're going to talk about tonight, but it's like, because he was deemed this boogeyman, no one would listen to him, I guess. Right? Like, because he's smeared by anti-hate, and it was repeated by Global News and all these people. Oh, well, he can't be telling the truth, or his story must be all weird and muddled. And it's like, if you ask him, he will tell you and show you the receipts of what actually happened, along with all these, trumped up BS charges that he's fighting. But apparently no one wanted to believe him, even though he fucking streams like 9 hours a week on an on week. No one wanted to like tune in. Oh, maybe the government made that. Maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe it's not a militia. Maybe it actually is just his podcast, and every institution in this country is totally compromised by far left ideologies, But yeah, total vindication. And we need to, this is just the beginning really of empowering us, on a psychological level, purely. It's like, we're not crazy. We are on the right side of history. They are completely corrupt, just like we said. We have the receipts. So it's time to, this is the beginning of really, I think, of like a crusade of sorts of, let's not stop talking about Hategate. Let's keep talking about Hategate, because it connects to so many other things, which I'm sure we'll get into this evening.
Well, you're saying that we've known this all along. Well,
I mean,
as early as May 2022, I created the original Rage Stream intro, not the original, the second Rage Stream intro, but the one that has gone viral in many ways, to try and warn people that, hey, this is why the Canadian government invoked the Emergencies Act. This is what they blamed it on. There was faulty information. It was all plainly presented in a very comedic, entertaining way in Raging Dissident's intro for all his live streams. We've all known this for a long time now, but now we have the receipts. So now we have like the literal messages between all the intelligence agencies that literally prove what we were saying, but it also just proves much more than that they were, like, on one hand incompetent, on another hand they were relying almost entirely on anti-hate, yet at the same time they were also like saying that this intel was obviously not of good quality, yet at the same time the Canadian government was using this information in order to invoke the Emergencies Act, which hasn't been invoked in decades. It's like completely unprecedented that they would do this, and they're not facing any accountability for this whatsoever. It's absolutely insane what they're getting away with, and the fact that the mainstream media is just ignoring this, well, you know who their masters are.
Yeah, and it's, anti-hate told a bunch of lies, and nobody fact-checked it. RCMP, CSIS. I mean, well, they did, like, after, or at some point, I suppose, but the Global News, the media never did. The politicians did not fact check any of this, and yeah, we are gonna like, it's up to us really to popularize this. Thankfully, True North picked it up. Harry did a good video on it, and of course, you did your a very well edited, kind of highlight reel of what Hategate is all about, just kind of splicing all the clips together, showing the hypocrisy in people's faces. So hopefully that picks up steam as well. That must have taken a lot of work, by the way.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to get into this in a second. I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping just before we get started. We are live right now on YouTube. We got some great numbers over there. I've shared it out on Twitter, so I'm gonna drop the Twitter link out into all the chats here. I'm live on YouTube. I'm gonna drop it there. I want you guys to juice this. Let's get it up there. The video that I posted today is already doing very well on Twitter/X or whatever you want to call it now.
Yes,
But
and we need more videos like that. And I'm telling you guys, from somebody who makes content, I was talking to Edgy a little bit while he was making this, and he was putting his heart and soul into this. Okay, like, and hours and hours and hours and hours of editing and like figuring out the music and like the perfect order, the right music. So by donating to Edgy, you are donating to, you know, the most powerful propagandist in the Diagolon movement, arguably. I don't know. I don't know if Ferryman might be like, hey, what, you know. But when it comes to
Ferryman would agree
video
that
editing,
I deserve donations. In fact, he said he was going to send me some money. So I'm rubbing my hands together in the anticipation of something coming into my inbox from Ferryman.
well,
But,
the point is
I'm not
when
going to
you-
hold him to it, but
Yeah. And the point is like in this info war, like these videos, these like the editing, honestly, like the editing of a video, of splicing clips together, like it really is so powerful. If you think about what actually moves the needle, it's people won't care about someone getting thrown in jail or Jeremy getting debanked unless there's a effing video. Like, it's unfortunate, but it's like that's kind of just like the time period we live in. So it is important to support Edgelord, EdgeStream, Edge King, top G editors like Edgy D.
hold on. I want to make sure you're coming through
Hello?
over. Hold on. Okay. No, on this screen here. There you go. I want to have a solo screen where I could be the top guy because I have one for you over here.
Yep.
So now I've created one where I'm the top guy.
Look at this wizard. Look at this EdgeStream wizard.
Yep. Well, anyways, I do want to say, yeah, you're right. And I do want to add one more thing. And it's not to toot my own horn or our own horns, especially in Diagolon with Philip and his horn as a goat. You know, goats have horns or something. Do goats have horns? Yeah, goats have horns, definitely, right? But I don't want to toot our own horns. We do comedy and activism very well together. And it really pushes our message to the next level. And it enables us to tell a story like we have been able to tell throughout these last few years. In fact, there's going to be no country where the government uses a mean country to invoke the Emergencies Act in order to beat down on their own people. The one country who is willing to stand up against these draconian vaccine mandates. And they enacted the Emergencies Act against a mean country. Well, that is just an example of the ingenuity, like the comedic talent, and just the absolute like voluntary activism of the people involved within like the Diagolon movement and whatnot, right? Like, there's so much involved with this. It's like comedy, activism, and then it thrusts us into this situation that we didn't necessarily want to be. We didn't want to be thrust into this situation where we are being scapegoated for all these veterans getting beat down in the streets during the Freedom Convoy. But this is where the liberal government has pushed us into. And now, at least we have the talent and the skills to be able to tell our own stories. And that's another huge thing, is the ability to tell our own stories with comedy and with other skills of entertainment that could push the message out to all the people.
You bring up a great point. A lot of the people who I know who are involved in politics, it's out of self-defense. I would argue it's very much out of self-defense. If you talk to yourself, you're frozen. Are we still good here? Good.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Sorry, I've got you. on the bottom here. Do you see that?
Yep.
I don't know what's going on.
Hi.
I don't know how that happened. Okay, there we
No
go.
worries. But yeah, if you talk to, like you were just saying, it's like we didn't want to be in this situation. If you talk to Jeremy, if you talk to Ferryman, if you talk to Derek Rance, like if you talk to even I'll even say a lot of people who joined the PPC, like these weren't political people before. I wasn't a political person before. I wasn't, hey, I'm going to like, I'm going to do like political commentary. That was like never on in my not even imaginable. But just by virtue of what's happened, and as things started to change, like you'll see if you track like the careers of like Derek Rance or Jeremy McKenzie, like we saw things starting to get all messed up, and we slowly started to make content to be like, yo, are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? This is wild. This is where we live. No one else is talking about this. Am I crazy? No? Okay. And now it's escalating with COVID and the convoy especially, because honestly, man, I look at videos before the convoy. I was watching some of my old videos before the convoy, and I was like, dude, I have like such a lighter spirit back then. I had such a jovial sort of like, wow.
You
like,
thought it was all about the marketplace of ideas, and boy,
no,
were you wrong.
not so much about that, but just like the energy and attitude. Like I was like, I was almost like still like this innocent sheep, where it was like, ha ha ha, oh my God, it's totally turning into communism, you guys. Isn't that crazy? But like once you see your friends get arrested, it's like, holy shit.
I mean, like, you might be next.
Happening, it's happening. Yeah. But as I was saying, like, because the convoy was so intense with, our friends getting thrown in jail, it's the self-defense thing again, where it's like, we need to up our propaganda. We need to get better at this. We need to organize better, because as we all know, a protest can only do so much. Like this, we need to look at the long term. We need to look at the long game. And that's why things like the Griff Shop has opened, right? Because it's like, we can't just compete here with, clicking the go live button. We got to do some organization beyond that. And I think the coolest part about like I'll say this community and like the people who are in the kind of space of fighting globalism in various ways, especially in Diagolon, though, there's a lot of things that like are happening supernaturally. And like, it's cool because it's, we're all just kind of doing the right thing. And this idea of like wanting to do the right thing all has us kind of like moving in a similar way, or kind of moving towards the same goal. Like if there's like a great example is this Hategate stuff. If you go to True North or Rebel News or even Global News, if there a news item drops, there's going to be some editor, or there's going to be some leader who's like, okay, we're going to talk about this specifically, then we're going to talk about that specifically. And like, this is how we're going to disseminate all this information, all the different angles. And maybe to like expand it, maybe it's the Newswire, maybe it's CBC, maybe it's even Gerald Butts, who's like, okay, CBC, you're going to drop this. CTV, you're going to do this stupid thing about a poll. And like, they're all kind of coordinated in a very specific way, it seems. There's also newswires that kind of do this automatically. But my point is, they're like organized. They have like a leader, and like, all the information propaganda kind of goes out in a very sort of specific way. In Diagolon, if you looked at what happened during Hategate, you had people, Ferryman's posting other exposés. You have Lee Stewie posting other exposés. I'm finding other stuff and posting it. Jeremy's finding other stuff and posting it. And a whole bunch of other, Diagolon creators, Rob Primo, we're all kind of pushing this like different angles of this like Hategate thing that's going on. And that really, it's essentially the same thing, but like there was no, there are no people in the back or like saying, do this, do that. Like, we're all naturally kind of just doing our thing. And it's effectively has the same effect of being organized and all moving in the same direction, as if we had planned it, but like we didn't, right? Like, we're just kind of like trying to do the next right thing, and it's manifesting in this kind of beautiful way that's just like totally natural. So it feels good. It feels kind of like divine in a way.
Well, it really is grassroots.
True. Yeah.
Like, it is grassroots.
It's genuine. And it's authentic.
It just feels to me like it had to be this way. Like,
well,
what is going on? It had a. Yeah. I was thrusted in this direction. Once again, this word thrust. I was thrusted into this direction.
Well, and
It's an unorganized chaos.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I don't know.
Organized chaos. But I do want to I want to finish this housekeeping. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Entropy. We're live on Rumble. We're live on Odyssey. If you guys want to donate, you could donate on Odyssey, Rumble, and Entropy. Like, I'm about to show you some of the work that I've been putting in to create awareness for this Hategate situation in order to stop the people who are trying to thwart free speech within Canada. The Canadian Anti-Hate Network, yes, they are some of the main people involved, but it's a whole network of people who are complicit with it, and without CON, the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, there would be others who would be affecting the same kind of agenda. So it doesn't not stop with these people.
Yep.
This is something that we need to stay vigilant about, and I want to do whatever I can to create awareness so that people like you and me who are concerned about the truth, who are concerned about the well-being of Canadians, that we can still have a voice into the future despite all the new anti-free speech legislation that they're trying to push through into the future. And these Canadian Anti-Hate Network people, they're at the forefront of this this whole situation, and they're trying to insert themselves as the digital commissars to be able to the ones who can judge who are, as they say, the bad apples, who are the people who are committing hate speech and who are not, and then they want to be able to take control of who gets censored on social media platforms. They want to make something for Canada with the new Online Safety Act. Like, I cannot stress this enough. There is new anti-free speech legislation coming down the pipeline, and these anti-hate people, they are doing their damnedest to come at the forefront of it. And they're saying that we're the only people who know how to we're the only people who have the expertise. We're the experts. We're the only people who know how to analyze the hate speech and to know who the hate mongers are. So we're the only ones who know how to affect these new legislations properly. That's what they're trying to do.
We're the only ones who know what hate is. We know what hate is. We're the experts. It's like you're the only one who can identify hate. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
So
yeah,
this is how important it is. And yes, to be honest, I spent 10, 20 hours this weekend making that video, at least, stressing to get it done. And we're going to show you this video in a second if you haven't already seen it. But I'm just saying, if you want to consider giving a donation, that's the kind of work that you're going to be donating to into the future. And guys, if we want to stop these things from happening, do you want to go donate to Jordan Peterson to make sure that he doesn't get kicked off of the psychology board? And he's not even a practicing psychologist anymore.
And
do you want to donate?
And he's a millionaire. That part as well. And he's also a millionaire already.
Like, because that first part may be relevant, right? Because it could potentially set a precedent. But at the same time, this guy's literally
I hope you can donate to my fund, because I'm going to fight this in court. And also, I could use something at my Italian villa as well. So I hope that you can donate to this. And I'm fighting free speech, and I'm also looking at a nice place in Brazil, actually, believe it or not. He needs to buy new property. Help Jordan Peterson buy property, buy another home.
Well, he needs to buy a property big enough to have a guest room for Andrew Tate to come over and bang out his daughter, Michaela, right?
Whoa. That's what's happening, eh? Is that...
Shots fired. You know, we joke here on the EdgeStream, and that's why we're not controlled. We're not censored by mainstream media. We just call it out how it is. But that was basically the housekeeping that I wanted to do. I wanted to shill for donations. But I did work my ass off this weekend for nothing, as of yet. So, it's not for nothing. I did the right thing, and I put pressure on these people. And that alone makes me satisfied for the amount of work, blood, sweat, and tears that I put into it. So why don't we show this video that we're talking about?
Hell yeah.
All right. I'm going to show the high resolution version on YouTube right now. This is, I guess, a summary of the whole Hategate situation and how it factors into Jeremy Mackenzie's situation, and basically how groups, so-called anti-hate groups, these NGOs like Anti-Hate in Canada, they create the smears that lay out the foundation for the media and eventually the government, especially when it comes to situations like the Freedom Convoy, where things are really starting to matter, where protesting and activism is really becoming inconvenient for the establishment because the people have literally had enough. Like, you know, people losing their livelihoods over wanting to have the choice whether to get the vaccine or not. Of course, there's the vaccine damage, and they don't want to talk about it at all. They gaslight people to pretend like that doesn't exist at all, right? Like, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're far right if your son died from vaccine damage. You're far right. That's the kind of gaslighting that is going on. And this is what people were fighting against when they were at the Freedom Convoy. And even just the freedom of choice to not have to do, even if you don't believe that that was happening, there was still a freedom of choice that was being squashed by an authoritarian government. And you had these people like Anti-Hate who are doing the bidding of what they say is supposed to be a liberal democratic government, but it seems like they were more, I don't know, communist, fascist, authoritarian, whatever buzzword you want to push. Either way, it was absolutely fucking unconscionable. So let's check out the video that I put out there.
Evan Balgord, Executive Director of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network.
Bertie Farber, Chair of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network.
He's a nonpartisan, non-profit.
We wear our biases on our sleeves. We are very proudly anti-fascist, and we focus on the far right.
Last summer, we had a 100-year-old church burned to the ground.
Canada's leaders aren't condemning the burning of churches. No, they're endorsing the burning of churches.
I understand that it's not your organization's mandate to talk about these things. As you've said, you're clearly focused on the far right.
COVID conspiracy theories.
Safe and effective.
They kill. They kill.
This so-called convoy actually seeded the ground for the worst display of Nazi and racist propaganda that I have ever seen in this country. Bullies, racists, bigots, and Nazis.
We now have over 300 active hate groups in Canada.
There's other groups that we're very concerned about.
Jeremy Mackenzie, the de facto leader of the Diagolon movement, a neo-Nazi organization.
Accelerationists who want to violently overthrow the system.
No fighting, no spitting, no throwing anything, don't even litter.
Who are now also encouraging their members to join.
If there's a speed limit on walking, walk slower than that.
One of the key figures of that, Jeremy Mackenzie, his slogan is gun or rope.
If they say it's now illegal to look at the sky, then look at the ground. Be good, for the love of God.
Do you know if the Canada Anti-Hate Network's views about you have been relied upon by law enforcement or other senior officials in the federal government?
Yes, I have.
Diagolon.
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 A far-right extremist group.
We're talking about a group that is organized, driven by an extreme ideology.
A so-called accelerationist group,
Formed by a former member of the Canadian Armed Forces.
which aims to accelerate racial conflict to lead to the eventual creation of a white ethno-state.
Its stated purpose is, quote, to incite a race war.
Justify a state of emergency.
The federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act.
There's some people that just want their lives back. And they enact the War Measures Act, the Emergency Measures Act, to justify a violent and brutal crackdown on old people and women and wounded veterans. You beat wounded veterans in the street, you scum!
What if I told you the organization and the individuals responsible for pushing this are being exposed right now in Canada?
It all circles back to one group, and that's the Canadian Anti-Hate Network.
That is pretty fair to say.
Liberal-funded Antifa propaganda. That's what the government of Canada was making their decisions on.
You were supposed to be grown-ups, confirm things and look into things.
The RCMP recognized that Diagolon was not a criminal group, it was not a terrorist entity, and they had trouble even defining it as a group at all. This whole narrative, they knew it was bunk.
The justification of the Emergencies Act during the trucker convoy came from lies from anonymous Twitter trolls from Anti-Hate.
Uncovered in Hategate is a string of emails from government officials.
Politician goes on TV and says that, oh, there's this terrorist group involved in the convoy. Then people say, can you back up your statement? And he says, talk to law enforcement. And then law enforcement is like, oh crap, we got to find something. So they just spend 15 minutes, Google Diagolon, and come up with this hit piece.
That Global News article conveniently sources one expert. That expert is from the Canadian Anti-Hate Network.
But it's the circle jerk, this vicious circle of one person feeding fake information to another, who then finances those people to provide the fake information so they can then launder it off to whomever they need to in order to justify whatever fabricated crisis they financed that never existed in the first place.
I consider it the single most embarrassing and grotesque intelligence failure in national history.
Hell yeah. You may be muted. I don't know. I can't hear you clapping. I can see it.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, you're there. You just have a good noise gate. There, I'll clap for myself.
So good. It's so good.
Oh, actually,
well
hold on. I didn't get this all set up for nothing. No, I have a clapping thing somewhere.
You're going through your
No, that was the wrong one. My bad. Oops.
How did that get in there? What is that?
Oops.
What is that? What was that?
I did it again. Alright. Well, anyways, that was my video that I made. I put some blood, sweat, and tears into that. You guys want to make any donations? Best place is probably Entropy. Also, Rumble and Odyssey. I check those chats very frequently. I appreciate all support, and I'm going to read all the super chats. We got a bunch over on Entropy right now. I want to give them all the attention that they deserve. Satoshi Ape and Real Donald T says, great video today, Edgy. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate the support. Cocaine Rim Job says, hategate.ca is getting constantly DDoSed. Make sure your Twitter people, etc. include the full link to the article on Caryma's media outlet as well. Yeah, that's hard. If anybody can help me, figure out what the best link is to put out there, because hategate.ca, I guess it's getting DDoSed. These people really don't want the story out there. Why else would they be DDoSing?
What that person meant, I think, is Crier Media.
Crier Media, okay, yeah. Because hategate.ca is a new kind of web domain, so I guess it's easier to attack when something like Crier Media, where it was originally posted. So, Crier Media, Hategate. Crier Media, C-R-I-E-R, Media.
Do you want me to post it in the chat? I have it right here.
Yes, please. Yeah, I'll keep reading the super chats. But thank you, Cocaine Rim Job. It is noteworthy that they are trying to DDoS all our websites. It's not my website, but all websites that we're trying to promote this story through.
Yeah. And it's, hey, you don't believe that Anti-Hate has pull and good connections? Well, they sold a lie to Justin Trudeau to justify an emergency act in this whole fucking mess. So obviously they have the power to DDoS a website at a whim, apparently.
And you should see how petty they're being now. It's fucking hilarious. We'll get into that in a second.
Good.
These guys are coping and seething so fucking hard. They lied, and then law enforcement took up their lies. So are they going to be used for credentials in the future? Are their credentials going to be good in the future? Of course not.
Wasn't there a quote from Evan Balgord recently that said the law enforcement should have done their due diligence? basically saying, hey man, I'm just the smear merchant. I just like make up little bullshit about people. I don't actually expect you to believe it or do all that stuff, right? I'm just ruining people's lives. With
I'm just the one who wears the far left anti-fascist statement on my sleeve, including when David Zegarak mows over convoy protesters in Winnipeg, the anti-fascist psychopath.
Yeah, man. Like this
did you talk about that, Evan? Nope. You haven't talked about anything that is far left. Like, imagine a synagogue burned down. No, we have dozens and dozens of churches burning down, and so many of them are suspected or proven arsons that there's no hate crime articles from anti-hate.
Canada is so backwards that there's 80 different churches that have burned to the ground, and no coverage of that. But it'll be like, today on CTV News, there seems to be someone who spat on the ground in the vicinity of a synagogue. We don't know what to do with this hate speech yet. And it's like, there's a church burning down the street. Like, it's in shambles. Like, did you see that? It's like, somebody spat on the ground over here close to a synagogue. And this is a hate crime.
No. Greg. Somebody did a burnout on a Pride crosswalk. There's CCTV footage. Can you identify the individual?
the spitting on the ground near a synagogue is really not that far off from like, there's tire marks on the road. Yeah, there is. Holy fuck.
I mean, it's all just fucking clown world. But yes, that's the way it goes.
I'm hoping that this can be the seed, like, with all these receipts, with all this vindication, it can be the seed to not only kind of feel good that we're in the right, but like really turn the tables on these people. We really need to turn the tables on these people. And I know that there's the 1 million person march for children, and there's like a couple of.
We'll get into that a bit later. I want to save that.
Yeah, right. But I like, we are not the bad guys, and we know it. So let's start acting like it, and let's stop being afraid of these liars. It's like so much of us being a bad person is based upon these lies. We know they lie. That doesn't mean we can just like be belligerent and, mean, act like genuinely hateful people. But like, it's just like, we need to get rid of that fear. We need to get rid of that fear.
You need to get serious. You need to get serious, but you could also stay funny. And like the sense of humor will go a long way.
Definitely,
and a sense of creativity.
Cool heads prevail.
You got to be creative, humorous, but also serious, because there's a lot at fucking stake here.
You got to be cool, serious. You got to be Chad, epic, based, red pilled.
Watch
Europa every day. Anyway,
we just got to be like Greg Wycliffe every day of our lives. Is that it? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, every single day, every single morning, I watch.
Jocko Willink, you get up at 5 a.m. and you're like, who's gonna carry the boats? And then you do like 300 push-ups.
I binge consume the Instagram account Muscle Christianity, which is just memes about Christianity and working out. Like every morning I just watch all of his posts.
And you don't follow any of it. You just take it in and you're like, yes, I am that now.
I work out, bro.
No, you definitely look like it. Anyways, I gotta get back to the super chats. This banter is great, but too many people are donating now, so I can't even talk to you, Greg. It's just the people are taking me away from you.
Hey,
what?
Continue.
The Mika Shrednick is saying, as soon as I finished watching that Twitter video, I knew I had to throw you a couple shekels. Fantastic work, Bigot. Hey, Greg. And cheers, everybody else. Bigots rule. In the slashes. Well, thank you, Mika. We really appreciate it. Boiling Frog says, you do great work. Everyone loves the intro you did for Rage. The edit about Hategate is awesome. And Dags won't say it, but they love you too, little man. What? No, Dags are saying it all the time, Bowling Frog. You gotta. That was like such a neg. Like, are you trying to fucking make me your girlfriend?
He's like, hey, here's the donation. Here you go, little guy.
Like, here you go, little man. I'm the only one who understands you. Even if you're late and maybe gay. Okay, this guy's fucking hilarious. This guy gets me. He's funny. Jen Steen with the $15. Hey guys, love your work. I love you too, Jen Steen, man. This is the doctor who makes it all happen, man.
We love Jen Steen. I'm pretty sure maybe he's like a low-key like pharmaceutical guy, because it's like he's sent us enough money to Diagolon to be like, man, maybe Jen Steen Pharmaceuticals. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe, you know.
If
maybe
anything,
that's part of the
like
agenda.
Like it's probably weed pharmaceuticals, because this guy.
Hey, I'm getting into shamanism, so let's do it.
Yeah. Like I don't think this guy would push pills on us. I think he would push weed, if anything, because like he seems super base. So he'd be like, CBD is the cure for all your ailments. And I'd
That's
be like,
right. Oregano
yes,
oil. Got to start to get grounding mats, homemade.
I
grounding.
only wear hemp.
That's right. That's right. There's a lot to the esoteric.
This
science
whole
out there. I think
wall
it's
is
real.
behind me. They're not insulation. It's all hemp. I insulate my walls with hemp. Thank you, Jen Steen. It's all because of you. Cunning Trigger said, thanks for the hard work, Edgy. Everyone, get in the gym and go out for hikes.
Yes.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
I went on a Diagolon hike on the weekend. It was amazing. You know, really great weather.
It's good to hear. We went on a hike together and it was fucking awesome. That was such a fun weekend.
Yep.
It was recent. No. Dr. Jensen says, I'm going to force my Cirque wife to watch this video. Psycho genius, sir. Psycho genius is exactly what I was going for. Jenstein fucking gets me. Psycho genius. I also like autistic freak show. That's also one of my preferred pronouns.
Psycho genius / autistic freak show.
Yes. So the Crown says, "Pay the man," and
Pay the
paid
man.
me. He paid me.
It's amazing.
He said it and he did it. Thank you, man. The Crown. I support the Crown. I don't know what that is. Probably the Queen or something. Colbert's mom, bless your heart. I bless you too. We all love Colbert's mom. What great friend. Great friend. Trevor Canning, awesome video, Edgy. Keep up the good work, 07s. Liquid Zoo, thank you so much. That's very generous of you. More! Does MOAR mean something that I don't know? Or does it just mean like more? I want more Edgy.
That's just like a meme way to spell more, I think. I don't think it's any deeper than that.
It's like
it's like a rar, like you know you spell rar with like a R-A-W-R. I think so. I think more is just like a.
I don't want to get this wrong. That's a lot of money to be getting this wrong. Make him seethe, Edgy. Oh yes, I will. The seething will continue until anti-hate is yeeted out of this fucking society. How about that?
Peacefully and democratically, of course. But
like rhetorically, like, do you think that I'm gonna do anything about it, like physically?
No.
No. If anybody wants to attack me, I'm gonna have to defend myself. But I don't think they're gonna do that. I'm just talking about rhetorically with awesome videos, putting them in their fucking place. Because they have said some disgusting things about us, about all of Canadians.
Yeah, and they're really like the nucleus of such of the very kind of ideology or sentiment that is just crushing the right wing, which is if you don't agree with us, you're a Nazi, you're literally a bad person to the core. They are like the nucleus of that idea, and they do all of the dirty work. They're the henchmen, they're the smear merchants that kind of make it so. They're the hate experts. But I was going to say, you know, speaking to this piece that you made and that people are thankfully donating for, the video is so powerful. Everyone's on TikTok these days. Nobody has any time, but it's so powerful when you can have a video like yours, Edgy, or, you know, I'll give some credit to True North. Harry's video is pretty good. It's 13 minutes, but it really does kind of break everything down nicely for like a layman.
He does say everything, like almost everything. There's so much more that could be said about like the genius of Caryma Saad in Elisa Hategan's article.
But my point is, the video is something that you can just simply send to somebody and
Yes.
that will actually get them to like take notice. You know what I mean? And like that's why it really is so crucial to take the time to make these things, and to like make it short and concise and like to the point. And it really, you know, although you spend however many hours on the weekend to make it, it's gonna, you know, that multiplies. Like it really has leverage over the hours, over the days, over the weeks. And
this is the kind of thing that we could do as a community to keep the pressure on, because I want you all to know that we have so much more in the holster. There's so much more coming. There's been yes, this was very difficult to come up with in a couple days, considering the circumstances. But that's also because we had so much locked up in the chamber. We know. Here at Diagolon, we knew that these people are the main foot soldiers to stop the entry-level people from getting into politics, from getting into telling the actual truth about things that are going on in this world.
Yeah.
That's what anti-hate, and they do this in every country. The SPLC in America they're a very powerful organization, and even in America, they also have the Anti-Defamation League. Here in Canada, we have the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. Over in Britain, they have Hope Not Hate. Hope Not Hate is very vindictive and nasty. And I mean, they're much more evolved than anti-hate here in Canada, but in each of these other different European countries, in every European or Western world country, they have these kinds of organizations, and they also have organizations, NGOs, that transcend all these different countries, and they compile information together. One example is the Institute of Strategic Dialogue, and each year they do an audit of what the far right, so-called, is in each country, whether it's Ireland, Scotland, Canada, and they coincide with these people like anti-hate or Hope Not Hate in each country. There's a whole anti-hate ecosystem that is involved with this, and we need to crash them all down. And we here in Canada can start with our own anti-hate expert, so-called Canadian Anti-Hate Network, and we will shut them down. We'll do anything to stop them, because they are the ones who are making sure that people cannot get involved with politics in a meaningful way. They're the ones who are using doxing tactics. They're going, anybody who gets involved with trying to oppose mass immigration, the sexualization of children in schools, or anything else that is like against the globalist paradigm, they'll be on the first foot soldiers to stop this from happening. So we need to stop them from doing that.
Absolutely. And it, you know, you were just listing off the different organizations in different countries, and it speaks to where we're at in terms of like how badly we're losing to globalism. You know, like why isn't there a far left watch? Hey, we're paying attention to the radical far leftists and the nonsense that they're pushing. You know, there is no equivalent whatsoever to a professional organization who is specifically looking at far left ideas, whether it's communism, whether it's you know, critical race theory, any of these things. You know, like that just simply does not exist. And again, I don't want to say like we're losing, but like we're at such a point on the football field, like in our own end, like close to our own end zone, like we're in our own end, right? It's like, it's what you said, which is even when we start to resist, they're on us already. You know, even yourself and myself, like we got featured in anti-hate at some point for when we simply started to first speak up and started to, like, you know, have a backbone and started to say like, hey,
let me give you an example. Is that anti-hate? So Derek Rance of the Plaid Army, one of my great friends, he found me and he said, hey, I love your videos. Why don't we talk more? And then he eventually had me on one of his podcasts.
Yes.
Or his live streams. It took 1 or 2 months before Anti-Hate was doxing me, finding my real name, knowing that like that was not something that I would want to be revealed, right? Because I'd been doing on my YouTube channel content that was like, I'm going to argue this point.
Yeah, people don't typically like their real name posted on the internet without their consent.
But they posted my real name as a name and shame to say that I'm racist, anti-Semitic, whatever else that they could do. And then I realized, oh, so it's not about a battle of ideas for these people. It's about naming and shaming so that they could force you to not be able to get a job in higher society, so that they could cap your political capital, your financial capital that you could get with whatever job that you have.
Absolutely. Dude, you bring up a really great point with that, because the further I tumble down the political rabbit hole, the more I realize it's not so like your political ideology and like the policies you like, and maybe even the values are actually not that important as much as the psychology. Because if you look how Trudeau operates, he's manipulating people. Like he uses these catchphrases to manipulate you. And when it comes to anti-hate, they use the ideology as a shield. They say, hey, we're stopping hate. Hey, no. They are psychologically terrorizing people with the wrong opinion. And in other words, and with Antifa, they physically intimidate you or like use violence to psychologically, encourage you to stop doing that. It's like politics has so much more to do with psychology than like, where you are on the political spectrum, or this or that or the other. And I think that the more people realize that, it's become very obvious, I think, since the convoy. Like it really is this game of, manipulating people and getting them to parrot your talking points. It's like, what you believe. Do you believe in the lie that Diagolon is a terrorist group? Good, because we're going to use that to justify a whole bunch of bullshit. So it's not so much about we're far leftists. It's like, no, you're using this to, like you said, ruin people's lives and intimidate them. And
that's all they have. They have no, like, I'll show you guys in a bit. I want to get through these super chats because they just keep coming in. You guys are so generous.
That's
I really
awesome.
appreciate that. And
Gross.
and like, you can testify for what it was like, because we were on the phone for like each night almost. Dude, this guy Greg, he gives me ASMR to go to sleep. So I think it was like 2 nights ago. I'm listening to Greg Wycliffe. Do you know what ASMR is, you people? So ASMR is these weird things that you listen to of people who are like doing cool sounds.
I don't think this is that funny, Edgy, but anyway.
No, it's funny. So we're on the phone together, and it's just like, it's Greg Wycliffe ASMR humming and hawing about how to defeat the leftists on Twitter. And he's like, should I post this or should I not?
I was drafting a tweet to call the
me and my girlfriend at 4 a.m. are just falling asleep to this. Like we're all. The point I want to make is we're all in this together. Me and Greg are on the phone together for hours, just fucking on on speakerphone, and we're just going to sleep, and we're all doing this together. We're all in this together is my thing. Yeah. But
we were working on the video. We were working on things and talking about scripting and all this, and then
I fell asleep. I fell
into
asleep knowing that Greg Wycliffe owned the leftist, and then I had a great dream.
I basically asked the question on Twitter. I remember the tweet I was drafting like it was yesterday.
I fell asleep before you hung up, but apparently the leftist was owned.
I called the president of Coop, the workers union, a pedophile. I didn't actually say he was a pedophile. I said, is he a pedophile? Why is he sexualizing kids? The president of Coop, he's this gay guy. Is he a pedophile though? Why is he talking about gay kids and bisexual kids?
Yep.
Fucking people, man.
Okay, so maybe we should talk about that quickly. Like, get it out of the way, and then we'll get the rest of the super chats out of the way. But throughout the rest of the week, there's these different events. There's the Million March for Children.
Correct.
What do you think about that? Don't worry, guys. We'll get to the super chats.
Honestly,
we really appreciate them.
Obviously, I love the cause because it's against, the indoctrination of kids. It's against the transgender stuff and all this weirdness. Because it's kind of their first event, it's very, very much a wild card. I can go like the cons are this. I'll go over the cons first. I feel like it's a bunch of people who haven't gone to protests before. It's kind of like a newer thing for them. And the con there is they might be disorganized. I think there's over 22 across the country happening. You have 22 different events happening across the country. Hey, I just say hi to myself at the bottom of the screen, but hey.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
There's 22 events across the country. Now you're confusing me even more. There's 22 events across the country. Some of them will be big, some of them will be small. And it's just such a wild card in terms of how organized will these different events be? I don't know. So that's why I feel like that's kind of the bigger con. It's people who are maybe new to this. It could be very disorganized. They might these anti-fascists, these freak rainbow people, also possibly paid agitators or paid union workers who are literally they're paid to protest and will be much more organized. That kind of makes me nervous because it's they're maybe they're going to be outnumbered, maybe they're going to be out finessed. That's my biggest con about it. However, I'll say the positives are they kind of have a little bit more aggressive rhetoric than Billboard Chris. And I love Billboard Chris. I love what he does. I think he should keep doing what he's doing. I think he's really kind of appealing to anybody on the political spectrum. He always wins an aspect of the optics war, which is like this crazy tranny is trying to punch me. Can you see how crazy this person is? He makes them look crazy.
Oh no. Yeah. Look how much I could get beat up by this tranny.
Well, and that is a point that people make, and it's not an invalid point. That is a valid point. It's it would be nice if there was.
Look how much this tranny could beat the shit out of me, and I'm such a victim.
Well, and this gets to the pro of the hands off our kids, the Million March thing. They have a little bit more aggressive rhetoric, and I don't think that they're going to be violent. None of them said that they say we're peaceful protests. Of course, I hope so. Be peaceful. But I
don't know. It's apparently this is a huge thing. I'm just gonna say, for me, what I will say is 1 million March for Children. At the very beginning, I'm like, is there gonna be a million? Why would you say a million March? What millions? This is retarded.
That is.
But it's them trying to. It's them trying to co-opt the Million Man March, which is the Billion Man March from the 1990s. And you know what that was? That was all the black rights activists in the 1990s. So it was Rodney King Jr. and Martin Luther King Jr., and Malcolm X Jr. So it's just let's get all the... can I get fucking Kendrick Lamar? Can we get all the brothers out to this? What is... Yeah, let's get all the brothers out to this. Let's get all the brothers out. But how it says that there's a million marching, but there's only 4 children.
Okay.
There's only 4 children. Look.
It's a hashtag, dude. It's how they branded the protest.
There's only 4 children. All right. Well, either way. My point is still valid. This is fucking retarded.
Autistic schizo. What'd you call yourself again? Autistic mastermind.
An autistic. This branding sucks. It's so stupid. This is boomer. I hope it goes well, and it seems like it's a huge situation. So on one hand. Mm-hmm. If there's gonna be a face-off between Antifa and these CUPE freak shows, who are trying to, or in all these Antifa, anti-hate freak shows, I want there to be like a good presence against them, but I also don't want people to fall in line to some kind of like false flag scenario where there's agitators who are going to like agitate against people on our side and then lure them into getting into some charges, because the mainstream media is going to do something to people on our side regardless of whether they started it or not. That's how things go.
I think you nailed it there. You kind of put the cherry on top of like the con side.
But I also am saying something about this, is that this seems not well organized. It seems not well planned. I'm already picking apart like even the way that they promoted this on social media. So it seems like maybe not the most intelligent people are involved. Maybe think about that. Like, I was making some jokes about it.
I don't know about that, dude. Like,
but do you understand?
I understand your criticisms, and most of them are valid. But the poster's not that bad. I've seen way worse posters out of the freedom fighter movement. Are you kidding me? Like this one at least has like a decent looking logo. The website looks really good. But I think you nailed it in terms.
I want all my brothers. I want all the brothers to show up to the Million March for Children, and we will show them that there will be equal rights for children and equal lefts for pedophiles to punch them in their faces if they try to molest our children. Shit. How about that? Do you like that? Do you like that?
That's pretty good. That's a good bit. That's a good bit. I like that bit.
Yeah.
But you nailed the the con of this potentially being disorganized, which is
all right. I hope
I don't want to say false flag necessarily, but to entrap people to make us look bad with a whole bunch of different events across the country. There's a lot of opportunities to do that. So I think you're absolutely right in terms of like that is the biggest risk. That's kind of like the biggest like worry tomorrow. I mean, you're kind of picking apart the hashtag. I guess it is going to be
how many children are going to be there? 4?
You can guarantee tomorrow that there's going to be so many tweets of snarky leftists going, "Oh, is this supposed to be the Million Man March?" And it's going to be like 2 people or whatever. Yeah, like.
Well, why would they set themselves up like that? They're fucking retarded. These people are fucking retarded.
Whoa, dude. We will see tomorrow. Okay, we will see tomorrow. Like, is there going to be a million? Definitely not. But there could be, several thousand across the country. That would be pretty interesting. We'll see. But
they literally wrote that because they were trying to co-opt the Million Man March from the 1990s. There's no other way that they would do that. Just let the retarded boomer waffen do what they're going to do. That's how we got ourselves in this first place.
But dude,
disassociate, ridicule them when they do this, and then we have our own protests where we oppose mass immigration. How about that?
The reason why I'm not gonna I'm not shitting on this protest is, first of all, this is their first run at it. We haven't seen if it's gonna be good or bad, and also, these people are actually doing shit, man. At least they're doing something.
I did something. I worked my ass off.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you're not doing something, man. But the Million Man March in the best possible scenario could be its own kind of mini kind of like red pill effect where, wow, there's this new march. They say it's going to be 1 million people, and oh my God, there's like Muslim people getting involved. There's Muslim leaders. That might be something for normie Canadians, boomer waffen. That might be the bait for more boomer waffen to actually come out.
Don't the boomer waffen hate Muslims until now? Does the boomer waffen have any principles?
Yeah, bro.
Jeez.
All the boomers hate Muslims. Like scientifically,
I don't hate Muslims.
They all. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where you're going with that. That's crazy to say that.
Well,
all boomers hate Muslims.
But this is good content.
On the contrary, there's and this is unfortunate, but it's the way it is. There are so many weak Canadian right-wing baby boomers who will say, oh my God, like, is there a Muslim family fighting for this? Now I have the confidence to stand up for myself. Like, it's very kind of pathetic that that's what it needs to take, is like, oh yeah,
it is pathetic. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Stand up for myself. Like, it's very, very sad. However, we're going to see tomorrow. Maybe it's going to be super effective. Who knows? Like, best case scenario, it is super effective. And the fact that this is something that might be like have more of a Muslim flavor to it, it might empower more finally fucking, boomer white Canadians to get off their ass. I don't know. But we'll see tomorrow. We're going to see tomorrow. But I'll add one other positive that I like about what I've seen. One of the leaders, Camille, who I actually interviewed on the ground June 9th in Ottawa for like the big kind of showdown that happened there. You were there. He has more aggressive rhetoric. And he's like intimidating our opponents. And he's like, he had a video that went kind of viral, and he was saying like, you really shouldn't come. Counter protesters, you really shouldn't come to this. We're really upset. There's going to be people from like all over the place. And like, we don't like your lifestyle. Okay. So we're going to start protesting pride parades because we don't like your lifestyle. This is kind of a step in the right direction, in my opinion. Not because Billboard Chris actually disagrees with this type of messaging. Billboard Chris is saying, no, we just need to be upset with the mutilation of children. Okay. And that's fair. Billboard Chris is going to do his thing. And like, he's had success. So I can't really knock him in terms of like how many people he's reaching and starting new conversations about this and raising awareness. And he always looks like the normal guy in the situation. Unfortunately, yeah, sometimes he's getting punched by a tranny, which maybe isn't ideal, but at least he's like being successful in getting the word out there. However, with the new Million March for Children, they're pushing this more kind of, yes, anti-gay message where it's like, yeah, it's not actually, you know what? It's not just the thing of you teaching kids about gender mutilation and all. It's actually not just that. It's the gay stuff in I actually, you know what? I don't like any of the rainbow flag at all. I don't like your rainbow flag in general. And that message is, I'm kind of liking that. I'm kind of liking that is a step in the right direction of kind of saying, hey, you know what? I don't like any of it. I don't like any of it, actually. It's not just the trans kid thing. I don't like trans people regardless. I definitely shouldn't be thinking it should be taught to kids. Get your rainbow flags out of here. I'm kind of liking that flavor of it.
Well, I don't think that trans surgery is acceptable in any situation.
Air horn.
Hold on. Like,
yeah.
Sexual mutilation of your body. I don't know. Maybe if you really want to pay for it, but especially not any taxpayers' money. And you're not going to gaslight or, shame anybody into making them complicit with your mutilation of your own body. That's fucking disgusting. Have some self-respect.
I mean,
God damn.
Why are we trying to normalize something like that? That's well, maybe some people it's like, but is it really something we should be, trying to make more normal? I don't
Get
think
some
so.
fucking therapy before you surgically alter yourself. How about that? All right. We got many more super chats. I think this is just going to be a super chat night where we're just going to we're going to just keep the conversation flowing. And I have many different links that I could share, but the super chats keep on flowing and they're going to come in, and my links, I'm going to share them as they come in regards to the super chat. So
all right,
it's going to be very good.
Let's
and
do it.
It'll flow within that realm. So EV140 says, thanks, Edgy. Quality work. Greatly appreciated. Greg too, man. Hashtag HateGate. Spam the hashtag on Twitter. Yes, please. Go on the hashtag HateGate, hashtag ban, CHAN on Twitter, and then keep on pushing that out there. We're doing great work here. Dr. Jenstein says, curious if Greg is hitting the streets tomorrow for interviews. So, we're talking about all this shit. We're having this debate. Are you going to go do interviews tomorrow?
There's one in Toronto. There's one in Toronto. There's one in Mississauga, and there's one in Toronto. I will be at the one in Toronto with bells on. I'm excited. I think it's a total wild card, especially in Toronto, because there's going to be a lot of like freaks there, a lot of union worker freaks. It's right near the freaking gay community downtown, so it's like, who knows? Then again, it's 9 a.m., so I don't know. I'm pretty sure the gays sleep in if you talk to them.
Yeah. Well, a lot of ecstasy, a lot of methamphetamine.
Yeah, this one came straight from the bathhouse. Oh my god, this has become a biohazard. What's going on?
Yeah, their butts need some time out after, especially if they go.
I thought the EdgeStream is for kids.
If their butts are getting wrecked all night, they need some time. So 9 a.m. is a bit early for them. All right. Well, Cannon is throwing up some slashes. Appreciate that, man. Awesome, man. Your favorite Karen saying, "Amazing Edge, edge it. Your artistic talents are boundless." She threw up some slashes. I appreciate that. Dirtbag Welder throwing up some slashes. I appreciate the donation too as well. Man, Anti-Heat must be seething with all these donations. Fuck,
dude, they're seething in general. It's amazing.
Yeah, this is
you
awesome.
said we're gonna get into some petty stuff later, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll be getting very petty. Godzilla Unchained says, "I'd like to know if the Canadian Anti-Hate Network can be sued for defamation, calling Jeremy the de facto leader of a neo-Nazi hate group is an egregious lie. As a show sponsor and fellow content producer, I view this as harmful assault on his, yours, and my character." So that's true. Now, defamation has like a very steep kind of precedent for Canadian law in order to get like charged in a civil court for defamation. It's a very steep situation, but I do think that they have crossed that many times over. Especially because they're speaking to the media constantly, and they're constantly defaming him and making him.
Just rewatching the clip that you posted today, especially the one from the Senate, the one when the guy has the mask on, he's like, "Its cited purpose is to start a race war." Like that one's so like he's just saying it so confidently. It's like who the
fuck are you?
It's like who the fuck is?
Yeah.
But yeah. We already talked about this, but it's like, that's when we saw, and I'm pretty sure Jeremy talked about this a lot on his stream. It's like, they're literally just reading the script that Anti-Hate handed to them. Like, this is so stupid. Like, oh my God. It's like, or I think the way Jeremy phrased it was like, wow. So senators literally don't even think for themselves. They literally just read a script that's handed to them from someone from Anti-Hate. Like, wow, that's depressing. That's a whole other problem, I guess, in the country. Just add that to the pile. Senators don't think for themselves. They just read a script. They don't do their own research or fact check. Okay, got it. Yeah, these guys are starting a race war, by the way. It's right here on the paper, which my fucking assistant gave to me. I'm high on perks and wine anyway. When is this session over? That was my impression of a Canadian senator.
Yeah, that's pretty typical. So Boiling Frog says, there is a French anti-hate center in Montreal, led by a tribesman with 2 radical Muslim women helping him. They literally copied the ADL hate symbols website and added a couple of local flags. The way they study and analyze us is repulsive. So yeah, they just use each other's resources, as they call them. Dude. So they just spy on us, and they just circle jerk this intelligence amongst each other. And literally this intelligence amounts to, this guy criticized this group in some way, and it doesn't matter whether what you said was true or not. It just matters whether they could say that, like, this was a hate. This was an anti-Semitism incident. Like, they look at things as if it's an incident that they could categorize within one of their thresholds to impugn you and to shut you down, whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
They don't ever have to deal with talking to you, debating you, because they have a strict no platforming policy That's how they get away with never having to debate their ideas in the first place. And then they have the support of the establishment with them at all times. So the establishment allows them to use their smears against you. That's how it works.
It's so agenda driven. Like all of it is just so bad faith. You know, like they are the most like passive aggressive, just like faggoty, feminine. They'll look at your entire live stream and, you know, they'll just be like, I'm going to reduce this person's entire identity down to this one little clip. It became so clear to me before a lot of this mess when I was running in 2019, and I didn't get an anti-hate article about me, but some faggot, pardon my language, even though it's true, from you know, the anti-racist collective, this guy did like a thread about me, and it was just so stupid. It's like, okay, so you're obviously taking this out of context. You watched the whole video. I clarified that. So you're obviously just trying to make me look like an asshole. Like it's the most bad faith thing, to the extent where it's like these people are just not only just like, you know, whingy and, you know, like weaselly people, but it's like there's a vile element to it. There is an evil element to it, where it's like, you know, you are lying. You know you are lying. You've watched all the content. And you know I've clarified this, that, or the other, but you're just specifically, no, I have no soul. I have an agenda to make this person look like a villain, and that's all I'm going to do. And I'm an expert. I'm a hate expert. I got a PhD. I went to McGill. It's like these people deserve no credibility, no respect whatsoever. And yeah, like you were saying, like they don't refute points. There's no debate. There's no debate to a point where it's like calling them bad faith is assumes that they even want to have a conversation, but they don't. They literally just want to find the dirt, make you look like shit. They're hitmen. They really are hitmen. Like that's the
right.
Like they're nasty, disgusting paparazzi.
Yeah, they would discuss your points, and they would like debate you based on like a good faith argument, but they don't do that. In fact, they have a strict no platforming policy. And that's why they immediately call you anti-Semites. They smear you as such in order to be able to, or racist, whatever else. But usually anti-Semite is the end of the line, where it's just like they feel like they know that they could get you away from everybody else if they say that term, and they could make it stick. That's what they try to do in order to stop you from talking to everybody else, especially the mainstream media.
Yeah, and it's I don't envy these people at all. Like they probably are haunted by like demons and all sorts of things. Like I can't imagine just like being so dishonest and lying. Like your job is to fucking lie, basically. Like holy shit. How do you live with yourself? I can't imagine. Like those people are probably haunted by so much demons and just like, oh my God.
I can imagine those are the demon people. Anyway, Scott Baker with an epic donation. Anti-hate seething once again from another epic donation.
Let's go.
Fucking brilliant. Great work, Dan. He said my real name. Yes, my real name is Dan Slino. You want to dox that again, homeboy? Shit.
You should get thank you, Scott. You should get a sound effect that's like a sizzle sound, and that would be the sound of them seething.
What about this? Yo, I just got another super chat.
Okay, yeah. Actually, you know what? That makes them seethe even more. That cha-ching sound for the bad guys.
I've made over $3,000 tonight. Anti-hate.
Let's go.
How seething are you right now? Jen Steen with another epic donation saying, I loved how Rage talked about honor last night. Right Honorable Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. To quote Bon Jovi, you give honor a bad name. You give honor a bad name.
Bad name.
Right, is that right? Did I get that right? Right, Bon Jovi.
It's you give love. Yeah, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I need to see that. I've not seen Rage talk about honor. This was last night. I gotta see that. Has it been clipped yet? I'll go find it.
All right. Well, now we're caught up. Oh, sorry. We have Rumble chat. We have Rumble super chats as
Let's
well.
go.
Do we have so many super chats? I don't know. I've lost the super chats on Rumble. This is pretty crazy. Well, no, never mind. I have them. It was Odyssey that everything fucked up. So thank you, Uncle Kenny. He said play Greg's new song, so it's probably the Shut the Fuck Up song. So yeah, maybe later at the end of the night we'll play that. Appreciate it. Oh, Charky Marky saying great edit. Appreciate your hard work. Now take my money. Throwing up some slashes.
Charky.
Thank you for the generous donation, Charky Marky.
Charky Marky. Let's go.
Let's fucking go. And then White Unity Bear saying Nacho Taco Chimichanga. We can celebrate our differences, buddy.
Ching chong ching chong ching ching chong ching chong ching. We can celebrate. It was Ching Chang Chung, actually. Remember the Pat King quote?
Yeah.
Ching Chains Chong. It's Ching Chang Chung.
Yeah.
Idiot.
At the people's POEC thing that what was it? I don't know if it was the lawyers or whoever questioned Pat King was like, didn't you tell this racist joke? And then they quoted him and he's like, actually it was like ching chong chang.
So someone put in the chat, Pat King, loose change. That's funny.
The 9/11 documentary. All right. So when it comes to that clip that we showed earlier, let's see what some of the responses to that were. In fact, I have one right here of a mainstream media person retweeting it, but then deleting it. So let's see what happened here. Ooh. So this is Joe Warmington. Doesn't he like write for the National Post or something?
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
So this is Joe Warmington reposting Lil Ol' Me, the filthy anti-Semite, supposedly according to Anti-Hate, right? So he says, damage done though. Once they label someone with a hate tag, it's very hard to interview them in the mainstream media. So that's what he posted. And then watch this. Watch this. This tweet has been deleted. Oh no. Oh no.
He deleted that.
Yeah, was this a cry for help? Is this a cry for help, Joe Warmington? You know, you didn't have to delete it. You could have had some fucking balls and like stood to your principles. Like
I like Joe, but this is part of the problem. This is like this is the problem, like in a nutshell, right here.
Exactly. Well, look what our good friend Tony, aka Evan Balgord's burner Twitter account had to say.
What I found.
Yeah. Oh. So Lee, my good friend Lee Stewie, caught him posting that, and he said, "Never mind. Warmington is a coward and deleted the tweet. Too bad I saved it." So she tried to like convince him to go forward with it more, with Jeremy McKenzie. So then Tony, YVCE, aka Evan Balgord's burner Twitter account, from Anti-Hate. So this is Anti-Hate's source, one of their main sources. This is maybe it's because he realized he was retweeting an anti-Semite, and of course Tony has 6 out of 25 of the Twitter thread that he made about me. One of the many Twitter threads he made to prove that I'm an anti-Semite. So anything I say can be disregarded because I'm supposedly an anti-Semite.
Yeah, you should be in a camp, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what Tony meant by that.
Yeah,
is like, oh my god, he should be in a camp, basically, because something about, I don't know, something you said, some mouth sounds you made were particularly offensive.
Yeah. Well, that's how these people operate. They think that they're coping and seething so hard that all they can say is, don't you know that you just retweeted an anti-Semite? Don't you know that like that guy's an anti-Semite? And they'll just say that over and over again. They will never argue with what you actually said for them to call you an anti-Semite. They'll never give you that opportunity because they have a strict no platforming policy. And that's
You know
how
what?
these
Maybe it's-
leftists works. And that's how these leftists works in order to shut you down. It's just like you're such a dangerous person inherently with your opinions that you cannot even speak. Now, how fucking racist, how fucking hateful, how fucking disgusting is that? I would never wish that upon my worst enemies. In fact, I have the credibility, I have the ability to defend myself so that anybody who has any kind of argument that they want to bring against me, I could defend myself. These people are fucking pathetic. They have fucking nothing except for smears and trying to ruin people's lives and use the power that is afforded to them by the rest of society with this corrupt society that is anti-white, that is anti-Christian, and that has it's afforded them these privileges, not white privilege, a leftist communist privilege for them to go up and become like commissars of society and put down other people who are trying to actually tell the truth about globalism, which means things like mass immigration, which means things like teaching that, like trying to harbor trainee kids in schools.
Yeah, I think there's like a history of when the communists or when whomever the totalitarians do this, they always kind of weaponize people's like control freak nature. Like they get like the super like control freak people, and they try to like enable and empower those people as much as possible. But what you're talking about goes all the way up the chain, though, right? Like it's not just Edgy D who they're not going to debate with. It's not just Greg Wycliffe or Jeremy that they're not going to debate with, but you go all the way up to the top, and the prime minister of our country is like, well, I'm not going to talk to you because you're racist. And it's like, well, what do you mean mass migration makes no sense? And they say, well, you're racist. Like they don't debate either, right? They don't debate either. So this is the same tactic that goes all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom, of just attacking your character instead of actually having a debate. And they need to rely on that so much because more and more, if you look at all the globalist policies, all the stuff going on, mutilating children, fucking mass migration, like fucking carbon tax, none of it makes any fucking sense at all. So of course they have to call us names because they can never fucking win in a debate. But the other thing I was going to say is like the analogy of, go back to Joe Warmington and to like the Hategate stuff. Imagine there's like, do I want to use the sheep analogy or is that distracting? Let's say it's sheep. And the trainer has a whip. Okay. They got this fucking whip and it really fucking hurts. Right. And that whip is like, whoosh, anti-Semite, whoosh, racist. Like, don't do that. Right. And they're like, oh, fuck, that hurt. Like, I'm going to stay in the herd. But here's what happens. They don't even crack the whip anymore. They just hold the whip up. They just hold the whip up like that, and the sheep are like, "Oh shit! Oh,
tweet deleted.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta
Don't worry. I know that the label of hate can get you canceled. Mm-hmm. So next time I retweet an anti-Semite, I'll be more careful that at least I'm not retweeting."
And you know what probably happened,
Save
right?
Joe Warmington. Save Joe Warmington. We need to save Joe Warmington. The contributors. That's what Jeremy is saying in the chat. I'm sorry. Like, these mainstream media people, these people who work for the National Post, for True North, even some who work for Rebel, they're being held hostage. They know that that they want to say something about this, but they have to delete their tweets after they post them.
Yeah.
It's fucking pathetic.
Save Joe. My name is Joe and I'm Canadian and
Toronto
I am
Sun.
a racist. Say it, Joe. It's okay. It's okay if you're a little bit racist sometimes, because we all are. But what the real Chads do, back to the whole whip analogy, is they build up a callus. It's like, oh yeah, I got whipped, like I'm used to that. And I'm going to get whipped again. And I don't care, actually, because I'm tired of fucking being on this little, like, this plantation that we're on. So, whip me all you want. And that's what needs to happen here. Because imagine if people built calluses. All we need is enough sheep to build calluses to, like, the racist, the anti-Semite, build the calluses, and then the whip has no power. because this is why they still have power over us, is the anti-Semite whip, the racism whip, which are just these words. This is what terrifies all the sheep. But if we take away their tools and say, hey, your fucking little whips aren't useful anymore because we've built calluses and go fuck yourself, they literally have nothing. They literally have nothing other than lying aside from that. But their most powerful weapons are intimidating us with these labels and trying to smear our reputation. But if we say, fuck you, I don't care. I've built up calluses to that shit. I'm good. And we inspire other people, then oh, wow, they have no power. Their whips don't work anymore. So Joe, if you're watching, just build up some calluses and don't let little fucking weasels in your DMs tell you to delete a Twitter. Cause I know delete a tweet. Cause I know that's what fucking happen. Joe's
Harry
like,
Faulkner didn't do it. Harry Faulkner didn't do it. What, is Harry Faulkner more of a man than you are, Joe?
Well, but the
little
point is like,
Harry with his.
No, this is what kills me about
Come
it.
on.
This is what kills me about
Come
it.
on.
Joe sees the Hategate stuff. He's even sharing it. So he gets it. He understands it. But he's like, ooh, yeah, I'm really worried about,
This is a cry for help. This is a cry for help. The fact that he put it out there and he's like, you can't talk about these things without getting canceled on the mainstream media. And then he deleted it. It was a cry for help. Joe, we're here for you, buddy.
We're here for you. You always have a home in Diagolon. Anyone who's been whipped by these labels, you always have a home in Diagolon.
Yes,
we're going to nurse you back to health and realize that it doesn't fucking matter. It actually doesn't fucking matter. Okay,
Joey, it's okay.
It's just words. That's the whole point, right? The whole
I'm breathing the life back into you.
Remember that? It's but yeah, I mean, I don't know Joe super well. I think he follows me though, and he is closer to being one of our guys who actually has clout. But even what he tweeted is like such a defeatist attitude. It was such a
this is like the Green Mile, like the black guy in the Green Mile blowing all the locusts into the people to bring them back to life. I am the magic Negro, and I'm gonna bring you back to life, Joe Warmington. You have to see the movie to get it, or else that sounds very racist. But no, trust me, it's a good reference. People will get it.
What did you mean by that though? What do you mean?
Greg?
Like you're breathing life into somebody, like in relation to what? I didn't follow.
So he could grow some balls, and maybe not delete things once he's made a comment about them.
Right. That's what we need. We need a magic Negro to show up and breathe bravery into these Canadian boomers.
Yeah. The chat is getting it. I see ha-has that are going almost to the edge of the chat. That's a pretty long ha-ha.
But yeah, once
Joe Luke Warmington. That was one of the funniest things. That's one of the funniest comments. Joe Luke Warmington.
But it is an interesting thought exercise, though, to think, Joe Warmington is probably someone who's rubbed shoulders with everybody in media, and he has this opinion. Mm-hmm. Well, once they've labeled you as hateful, there's no going back. I guess you just can't do anything. And it's like, okay, so you're just going to accept that? And I guess it's totally fucking over. And I don't understand how there can be these usually baby boomers who are like, oh, man, no one's speaking out. No one's fighting against this. Well, but I also can't speak out against it either, or else I will get in trouble. And it's like, don't you see how that's the exact, that's us losing, that whole decision of not being brave, that whole decision of well, I guess I'll just kind of stick to my material things and my material wealth and try to fearfully hold on what I do have, the scarcity of what's left. This is the whole mentality that's okay, so you're not a soldier really. Maybe you can try to subvert the system in other ways, but it's
is Joe in or out? Is Joe in or out? I don't know.
We're gonna save Joe. We're gonna save Joe. We
need to on Entropy, I got a couple more donations. Sorry, Joe. It's up to you to save yourself, buddy. If you want to delete your own tweets, literally sack up, grow a pair.
Joe, one last point.
Grow a pair.
One last point.
Greg has one more thing.
One last point for you, Joe. You're worried about the future of the country. You're worried about what's happening. Hategate is the perfect opportunity to take a stand against this stuff. It's the perfect opportunity.
Well, Harry Faulkner of True North Center is already cucking him, so he's already missed the boat.
No, but the more the merrier. The more the merrier.
Okay,
this is something we should be able to laugh at, to point at, and say, like, look how corrupt it is. Holy shit. And like, yeah, the reason we get called names all the time is fucking dumb because it's based on lies 99.9% of the time. Like it's the clearly moralizing story and moralizing thing that should really like.
Greg, we have way too many super chats to make anti-hate seethe to keep talking about Joe. Okay,
that's enough for Joe. I just want to.
Yeah, Dr. Denstein is saying I'm gonna be supporting a giant Edgy D flag. I don't know what an Edgy D flag is. It's an Edgy D flag is probably just a bunch of insulation. So, if you could do that, that would be the funniest thing ever. I would really appreciate that.
That's awesome. Thanks for the donation, man.
Huron Cancer says, donate to the Institute for Strategic Dialogue. I will say that again. The Institute for Strategic Dialogue is one of these multinational, non-governmental organizations that does hit pieces involved with each country. So, like, they will coordinate with Anti-Hate in Canada. They will coordinate with SPLC in America. They'll coordinate with Hope Not Hate in Britain, and with whatever, like Australia, Ireland, Sweden, whatever country that they get their tentacles into. And it's also funded by George Soros' Open Society Foundation, even though that they say that George Soros conspiracies are anti-Semitic. It's ridiculous. So this is how these anti-hate organizations work. They have anti-hate organizations, and their tentacles are all over the place. So we have to shut down the ones in our country, and then we have to recognize where all their connections are and stop them at their power sources, and then take them down as many notches as we can with our own intellect, our own skills, and our own talents, and our own support, monetary, getting together and organizing in person, whatever we could do. Obviously non-violent, because that's what we do. We do everything non-violently, and we do everything peacefully to stop these people from taking away our fucking free speech. There. I went off.
I mean,
Edgy went off.
There certainly is a network of people who happen to be, trying to shut down speech under the guise of hate and extremism. And
okay,
they're all individuals. They're all secular humanists.
Yeah. Okay, Greg, I'm gonna save you by just reading the next super chat right now. Rage is saying, I almost withheld the super chat for that butchery of Bon Jovi. I'll pretend I didn't see that. The rest of the stream was great, except now I'm live hearing that Greg didn't watch the stream, and I did the whole thing for him. So he's mad that you didn't watch his last stream, and he did it all for him. He did it all for you, Greg. Now Edgy is reading Rumble chats. Oh no, he lost them on Rumble. It's crazy. Okay. Rage, I don't know how to deal with all this money that I'm getting now. Anti-hate is seething so much because everybody's just giving me money. I think I've made about $4,000 or $5,000 tonight at this point. Guys, stop donating. I've made too much money tonight. You're gonna make anti-hate seethe too hard, and they're gonna come and destroy my life. They're probably gonna come and kill me. Please stop donating at this point. It's getting ridiculous.
Dude, we're funding the propaganda machine.
Yeah. So the Satoshi Apes and Real Donald T said the left work on stick to your talking points and repeat loudly enough that it repeat it loudly enough that it becomes true. So stick to your talking points and repeat it loudly enough that it becomes true.
Yeah. In other words, stop thinking and just bark like an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. That's like a leftist.
Trans women are women. Trans women are women.
Yeah.
Where's that trans kid?
Yeah. Don't have debates.
Off our street.
Yeah. Don't ever
I'm not
talk.
allowed to hit them. Are you sure? Sorry. Not violent. Right. Don't do violent. Don't be violent, guys. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
They are really deranged in the brain. Like, you can't reason with these people.
No. Keep it.
Rage again says #SaveJoe. Save Joe Warmington. It's not too late. He's lost faith. He's in a dark place. We can win. Joe, with your help, reach out. It's not too late. We are sending commandos to your home right now as I type this. The password is Velociraptor. Joe Warmington, the password is Velociraptor. We are sending Diagolonian dinosaurs to your house.
That's so funny.
Code name, password, Velociraptors.
We should do something about that. Whenever someone cucks publicly
Don't worry,
like this,
Velociraptors are not anti-Semitic. It'll be okay.
who's gonna come save him? What's the name? Is it like the Chad Squad? It's like you knock on the door. Joe, we're here. The Chad Squad. It's okay. You don't have to be a pussy anymore. Well, what do you mean? They're gonna call me hateful, anti-Semitic. It's okay, Joe. This is what you do. You post your anti-Semitic. Whoops. You post your anti-Semitic tweet, and then you just put your phone down and go to the gym and continue your life. It's not that bad. We're the Chad Squad. We're here to save you.
All right. We fixed the Joe situation. We have Jen Steen saying he doesn't want to get a DAG flag. No, sorry. Not a DAG. He just wants a giant poster of me. Jen Steen wants a giant poster of me in his basement. I'm so flattered. Oh, we can make that happen. And Boiling Frog is saying,
can you
Edgy? Read it? I don't know. Something about 6 Gorillion in a shit lib government. And
oh, we need to talk about that still.
Yeah, we still need to talk about the 6 Gorillion. So I appreciate that, Boiling Frog. I don't know if I want to read that out, but I appreciate it. Raging is saying, no, it's literally just a registered mail delivery, and it's a printed link to the Telegram chat. I don't know what that means. But you know what?
Maybe he's referring to like the people who like how to save Joe is just like, hey, like join the Telegram channel, idiot, and just
oh yeah. He's got to go find his friends. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I think we need to take a quick break. I want to share one of your songs. They Lie. They Lie. Greg, we're going to play They Lie.
All right. Speaking of things that took a lot of time to edit. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Like Greg Wycliffe, one of the masters of editing too, man. Like this song is one of the best songs I've ever heard. Just like him performing it, the song itself, the content, the music video, it's all one of the most spectacular things I've ever seen. And when we get back, we're going to get into more of the content of what is going on with free speech in Canada. Like, we went through a lot of fun stuff with the community there, but we're going to get into more content when we get back.
Hey, but before we go to the video, Greg Arcade, the other amazingly talented Greg, he did like basically all of the music in terms of like the production and everything. Like he is the mastermind that brought it all together. Couldn't have done it without him. So yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard of Greg Arcade already, but
yeah, well, Greg Arcade has like a new album out there. So
yes,
go to gregarcade.com and make sure you grab that.
Yep.
Outlaw
just
Country.
another thing that Greg Arcade's hands have been touching. There's a lot of things.
The thing is, there's so many people in our community with talent.
Yep.
Like it's incredible.
Yep.
All right,
Greg Arcade.
Hold on 1 second. There we go.
11. News tonight at 11.
Cause you lie, persuade, confuse, can't think about it. I could die tonight. Bright lights will hide it. Take my time, control my mind in time. I can't even trust my own eyes. Watching you, you're so friendly. You know what to do. You got the nicest hair, and I see you there, and I can tell that you care. You know everything, and you make me feel safe. You know what it is, you know what it is, you know everything. And then they lie, persuade, will never be the same. The research shows, the study proves. Trust the experts. This is false, it's misunderstood. It's been debunked. This isn't good. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's all your fault. And then they lie, persuade, confuse, can't think about it. I could die tonight. Bright lights will hide it. Take my time, control my mind. In time, I can't even trust my own eyes. And I know that you care, but tell me why. Why am I so scared? And then they lie, persuade, confuse, can't think about it. I could die tonight. Bright lights will hide it. Take my time, destroy my mind. In time, I can't even trust my own eyes. Trust my own
Hello?
We had a lovely event planned tonight.
Uh-oh, is Edgy still in the
Supporters had come
bathroom?
out to Dufferin Caledon from
Edgy, where
across
are
the
you?
northern part of the GTA.
No. We can't let this happen. No. I'm sorry, I saw that and I was like, I can't let Greg just be sexually assaulted by Justin Trudeau's appearance.
That would have been a nightmare if I was just in the background watching some Trudeau video. Fuck.
Dude, I literally saw what was happening, like the video's changing, and I just knocked everything off my desk to come and save you. I'm sorry.
Whew. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. It's been a while since I watched that.
All right. So that is the talents of Greg Wycliffe, man. Incredible stuff. So, you know what? I just want to make sure that we're up to date on all these amazing donations. We have Jaded Mandarin on Rumble saying, very grateful for your work. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't know what's going on Odyssey. I'm going to refresh it one more time to see if anything's coming in there. But on Entropy, once again, we have Jenstein saying, it looks like Rage is playing flute in the background. If you don't want donating, don't make good edits or streams. Okay. Is he playing?
Yeah, Edgy.
He has a guitar.
You don't want donating. Don't make good content, bro.
Yeah, well, thank you. It does look like he's... Oh, yeah, because the mic thing is just right across his face. But he could be playing good bass, because you know how huge bass guitars are like boom, 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 do 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 do.
Stand up bass, yep.
He could be slapping the bass there, Jenstein. You gotta think about that. All right.
That was from Jenstein again, that dono. Let's go.
Yeah. So, why don't we talk about the state of free speech in Canada? Now that we've gone through all the massive donations, I think I made about $6,000 tonight, and the anti-hate must be seething so hard.
Actually, if you do the math properly, I think it's actually around 6 million.
Whoa!
Yeah,
no, it was probably more
it's
about $200,000 to $300,000 that I made tonight. I think that you may be exaggerating a little bit. I don't know. There was a lot of anti-Semitic jokes that were going around tonight, but
were there?
I
don't think.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe that's the amount of money. I'm very confused by what's going on. I've been so gaslighted by everything, and I'm not even allowed to speak, so I don't even know what to think anymore. Greg, can you
What do you mean you're not allowed to speak? I mean, we can talk about the state of free.
I'm not allowed to think. I'm not. Me and Joe Warmington.
True. Don't think anymore. Don't share that.
No.
I would love to know who was in his
I'll delete
DMs.
the tweet, Massa. I'll delete the tweet.
That's right. Delete. You know that you just retweeted a known anti-Semite, according to Anti-Hate, which Hategate is about, kind of totally debunking all the fucking bullshit lies that Anti-Hate is spreading. Oh, I better delete it because maybe Anti-Hate, who was just proven to be full of shit, will call me, lie about me. It's like, okay, so you're just gonna like validate the lies that are told about people. Thanks, Joe. We can save you. Okay, we can save you. You might have to hit the gym or something, but we're gonna save Joe, guys.
Yeah, I need to hit the gym. I've been editing too much, and I want to get back to the gym. Let's get these bench presses up again.
Hell yeah!
I know you're a fucking Chad. Me and you have worked out a couple times.
Fucking
Greg.
right. Fucking right. The globalists hate it when you work out.
Yeah.
They hate it when you work out.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeremy says all this stuff about, oh, you'll be like healthier and like you'll feel better and live longer. No, it's about making the globalists see. That's why you should be working out. That's the real reason. You know, there's like every time you lift a weight, there's someone who's like, damn, no, I want them fat and lazy and dying and not working out and eating the goy slop.
Yep. I will not eat the goy slop, okay? Hey guys, Greg, we know me and you are probably two of the most educated people about what's going to happen with the future of free speech here in Canada, right? And what has been going on? There's been many threats to free speech here in Canada, and I would say that the Canadian Anti-Hate Network has been at the core of all of these initiatives against our free speech. Now, Bill C-11 is one of the main things that like everybody freaks out about. They're not really that involved with that. Now, there was one in 2021 called Bill C-36. And what Bill C-36 entailed was that they were going to create new hate speech laws somehow in order to just like charge more people for hate speech somehow. But they were also going to bring back Section 13. And if you guys know what Section 13 was, this was a law that went back to the 90s that was part of like the Canadian Human Rights Commission, where you could get anybody could charge anybody else with a hate speech charge in a civil court. So you just say, I think this guy did a hate speech, not even against me, just they did a hate speech.
And like, hold on, you don't even need evidence, right? You just say, I think, or I feel.
Well, either way, there was many people that got charged with it, and one of the people who did that, oh no, the only person who did that, he had like over a dozen successful charges in that regard. Richard Warman, he's one of the board members of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network.
Wow!
But that
weird
law,
coincidence.
Yeah, that law got repealed in 2011, 12, 13, one of those years in the early 2010s. The conservative government, they repealed that in Parliament to huge applause because it turned out that Richard Warman was going undercover pretending to be a neo-Nazi in order to help facilitate the charges that he was putting against people. Richard Warman.
Are you suggesting he lied? He lied about being a neo-Nazi in order to create this false boogeyman that he could then be the victim of to literally profit off of?
Could you imagine that this guy is now a board member of Anti-Hate and is helping them along with all their legal battles?
Got a great credibility and that
great track record.
Right? It's like, are they hiring this organization based on real expertise on hate and finding terrorism? No, it's like, oh, you have a history of being a total shyster, total liar, total fucking scumbags. Yeah, definitely. You should be part of on the board. Absolutely. Look at your track record, you shysty.
But however, these people, an Anti-Hate, with the new with the new legislation that they're trying to bring in, they talked about Bill C-36. Bill C-36 was supposed to bring back Section 13 and make it worse. And of course, these people were all for it. And in any situation, Anti-Hate in Parliament, Senate, wherever they can, they'll try to bring up that they need to bring Section 13 back.
Well, and it's the pattern is across.
Think about it.
Yeah, the pattern is across the world, dude. It's like look at if you look at the big picture, if you look at the big agenda, it's like they're pushing insanity, like the carbon tax, like they're trying to destroy the family. They're basically trying to enslave people. They're trying to kill people as well, with the jabs and everything. And they're getting really bad at getting away with it. They're getting really bad at covering their tracks. Like COVID.
Well, just look at Bernie Farber yelling about the Freedom Convoy. He was calling them all bigots, racist, Nazis, bullies, and all these things. And they think that they could just get away with calling Canadian citizens something like that and shutting down their right to free speech, their right to protest, their right to not have something injected into their bodies without some kind of fucking disgusting coercion that he is trying to put upon them.
Woo! This man cooking over here. And you're absolutely right, dude. They lie. They spread the misinformation that radicalizes people to be more hateful, and that results in people, hurting themselves with untested, medical treatments. It's like who's spreading the lies and the misinformation and the hatred? The government is. It's like it's like we all know this. It's very fucking obvious, like how inverted it all is. But it is important to repeat it. Of like these guys are projecting. They are the evil ones who are lying, and it's funny how like these politicians have popularized misinformation, because it's like, oh, the thing that you've been doing to us. Oh yes, misinformation. That's a good word for it, actually. Okay, very interesting. But like the point I was getting at is, yeah, obviously they're trying to rip our tongues out. Obviously they're trying to add censorship, because there's no fucking way to push their agenda forward without it. And this is once again why ideology or like your values in politics doesn't matter, because they're just trying to stop the free speech. They're trying to rip our tongue out. They'll use any idea they can. If they're going to use anti-Semitism, they'll use that to take our freedom of speech away. If they're going to use being against hate, they're going to use that. If they can use racism, they're going to use racism to take our freedom of speech away. And, for all of us, especially us autistic types who follow this stuff closely, it's very, 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 very fucking obvious. And it's so annoying when they always do the same, like, oh, the marginalized and the people, they're struggling so bad, and these poor fucking people. And that's their only tactic that they have is this like victimhood, like their victimhood cauldron, their victimhood Olympics, this sort of like, it's a drug really, because people get high on it, right? They get high on being a victim. They get high on the like being pitied, and they get high on pitying other people. And that's kind of like the whole racket that they're trying to use to justify taking away speech. And I mean, we could get into all the fucking examples, but we just have to be super diligent about it, and realize that it's going to manifest in many different ways. This is another reason why it's so important to criticize Pierre Poilievre of the Conservative Party, because and you have more of the receipts on this or the details on this, but right during the trucker convoy, correct me if I'm wrong, the Conservative Party either tabled something or approved something that had to do with this speech restriction having to do with anti-Semitism and the Holocaust. So picture this. It's like, hey, I need a new mic, guys. What the hell? Picture this. I gotta hold it like Rage does now. But so picture this. Hey, I'm your generic Conservative Party of Canada candidate. Are you worried about the cost of living, the price of groceries, inflation, drug addiction, and just the terrible state of living in Canada right now for various reasons? Yeah, that's exactly why we need to talk about the Holocaust. That's right. The Conservative Party has put forth this legislation to talk about this specific speech law having to do with something that happened 60 years ago. Because we are the Conservative Party of Canada. Yes, I know you're struggling to make ends meet. You have no future. Your children are getting bullied at school because they're not Somali like the new kids that are flooding into this country. But guess what? It's important to talk about the Holocaust. That's the most important thing that we're tabling today. So make sure that you send us your money so you can stop talking about some item in history that happened 60 years ago, because apparently it's relevant to why the cost of living is so expensive right now. Bring it home.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you right now. you are spot on to something. And we were talking about Bill C-36 before. I don't think that that's as much of a threat, but things like you were just talking about right now, like how the mainstream media and the government is saying that Holocaust denial is a threat. Well, literally, they made that into a law through the federal 2022 budget. Now, I'll also say one more thing. I think there might be something wrong with your mic. Make sure it's plugged in correctly. I don't know. Look in the YouTube chat. People are talking about it.
Shit.
So, maybe figure that out. It seems like they think it's you.
Figure it out, bro.
Yeah. So, I want to share with you guys in the meantime, though, what Greg was saying. So, I was talking about Bill C-36 before, and that was one of the most draconian anti-free speech bills that was ever proposed in Canadian history. However, during the 2021 election, when Trudeau got reelected, the bill got scrapped. However, they tabled a new bill called the Online Harms Bill. And then when it got very negative reaction, including many online critics saying that it's the worst anti-free speech bill in any Western country, even worse than Germany's. And Germany is really bad for that.
Wow.
Then they scrapped it a little bit, and then they rebranded it as the Online Safety Act. So that is one thing that is going on right now, and that's an ongoing thing. They had workshops. They had like 10 or 11 workshops with experts in the fields when it comes to whether it's free speech or online activism or anything like the digital space. They had like all these different experts, so-called, and guess who was one of the experts that was involved in discussing the future of this online censorship? Can you guess?
Was it Evan Balgord?
No, it was Bernie Farber.
Oh, it was
the
Bernie
one who
Farber.
was
That
saying,
was my next guest. That was my next guest.
Yes, it was bullies, racists, neo-Nazis, the worst display of neo-Nazism I've ever seen.
Neo-Nazis,
AKA
bigots,
the
and bullies.
Freedom Convoy. Yes, that's right. That's the guy who wants to take control of your internet, who wants to take control of your speech.
Mm-hmm.
He's involved with tabling the new legislation. The government paid him as an expert to be involved in this panel. So
Yeah, and-
you have to be aware that these people are involved, and we'll get more into that into a second.
Wait,
First,
can I make a point here?
we need
before
to
I
get
lose
into
it?
this
Can I
because
make a
this is
point?
another huge threat. Okay,
Let me just
sorry,
make a
go
point.
ahead.
Let me make a point here before I lose it. It's this really supports the idea what I'm saying here, which is like it's all a farce. This whole thing of stopping hate, this whole thing of, you know, we're gonna like get rid of the bad people. It's all a total farce. It's all about throwing everything they can at the wall in order to try and take our freedom of speech away. Why do I think that? Because they're hiring people from the anti-hate network who don't have a good track record when it comes to anything other than manipulating, intimidating people, you know, smearing reputations. Like their whole track record is built on like psychologically fucking with people or fucking with you know, public perception to try and shame people into silence. Like their whole MO is to control people's speech or to, like, you know, discipline people for saying the wrong thing. So of course it's not about actually stopping hate. It's about trying to silence people. It's about trying to justify more bullshit speech laws, you know? And it's like, that's why they're hiring a bunch of liars to do this, because that's what they need. They don't need honest people. They don't need virtuous people. They need people who say that they're honest and virtuous while, you know, completely corrupting everything. And just participating in the worst kind of like demented lies upon lies upon lies.
Yeah.
Are we being a dead horse yet? Sorry.
Oh, you want to beat a dead horse? Well, let's revive that horse so we could beat it again, because this is gonna blow your brains out.
That's such a funny thing to say. We're gonna revive that horse to beat it again.
Canada's 2022 federal budget includes funding for Holocaust centers and to combat anti-Semitism. So I'm not anti-Semitic because I'm not using any
hold on,
anti-Semitic. Hold on. Let me finish my point.
At the top of your priority list. Why isn't funding Holocaust centers to combat anti-Semitism the top of your priority list? Because if it's not the top, then you're a fucking piece of shit.
I'm not saying that they should get
the rules, but those are the fucking.
Greg, you're spurging at again. I wasn't saying that they shouldn't get any funding. What I was saying is that they should maybe not get $70 million directed to projects in the Jewish community and combating anti-Semitism in the 2022 federal budget. That's what I was trying to say. I was trying to say that's a little much.
70 million? Where the fuck does that money go?
Where does that money come from?
Where does that money?
And where does it go?
Comes
Guys,
from us. What do you mean, where's it come from? It comes from taxpayers.
Joe, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up, Joe.
That's crazy. 70 million to stop anti-Semitism.
Right.
Huh.
And you want to know where some of this money is going? You know how Anti-Hate says we only ever got that $268,000 grant from the Canadian government.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's also a $2.5 million allocated in this money towards Toronto's newly renovated Newburger Holocaust Education Center. And you want to know what Newburger Holocaust Education Center funds? None other than Anti-Hate contributor Etienne Quidiel and Dan Collin, aka not his real name. Hatepedia. That's what that's actually funding. This is what your taxpayers' money is going towards.
That little puke is part of this.
Laundered that money.
Actually, hold on.
That money.
This is a good point to bring up though, because I'm going to be trying to like push out content that's kind of drives this home more, which is, you know, people are obviously excited about Hategate, getting more popular. People are talking about it, but we really need to drive home like how urgent this is and how it's not just anti-hate. Anti-hate is just a representation of what's basically everywhere. Their tentacles are everywhere. People who think like them are everywhere. We saw that with these leaked Zoom meetings of these COOP union workers who were saying, oh, anti-hate said this. I'm an anti-fascist too. These are supposed to be like the biggest union workers club, COOPy or whatever in Ontario. And they
right at the front, the slashies.
Front page, slashies in chat right now, guys. Let Hatepedia see them. Yeah. Let them see them. That honestly, it's a fun.
If you guys want to find some great memes, go to hatepedia.ca.
No, for real. For real, go to hatepedia.ca.
Donate to hatepedia.ca. Okay.
I learned so much about like Nazis and anti-Semitism reading through this. I swear to God, I probably learned more like weird esoteric Nazi stuff.
Guys, they need more money. In fact, what do they want? They say that they want $5 million because there's 6 million believers of right-wing conspiracies. Can you believe that? 6 million believers. So the people that say that if you don't believe that 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust are saying that there's up to 6 million right-wing conspiracy believers. Do you think that this is bait or not? Do you think that they're trying to like potentially get us to say something? Are they trying to fabricate their own narrative here by pushing us to say something that might be something that they could use against us? Like, this is fucking hilarious. Like, what are they even saying here? And should we be giving $5 million more to this? Guys, this is what's happening. If you don't wake up, if you don't do as much as you can to stop these people, what can we do to stop this? I know we're bringing attention to it. That's at least a start. We're educating, we're being funny about it, and we're making it entertaining. But what else?
Did this number actually come from anti-hate?
I don't know, man.
Because I saw like the headlines fly by, and I'm like 6 million. Like, yeah, that's pretty well bait. If it's not bait, it's definitely bait. It's like, it's so funny though. It's so fun. I love how you just came in and said like, if they don't think in like Holocaust, and it's like, okay, we're not going to be subtle about the 6 million number. Got it. But yeah, it's like, I feel like it might be more, you know, like what if it was only like 5,999,999 Holocaust believers, or sorry, conspiracy believers. You know what I mean? Like what if it's just like one under? Is that a problem? Is that like a big issue? Is that like a crime? I don't know. But
I mean, it might be, to be honest.
6 million believers. That's kind of white pilling though. If that's actually true, 6 million.
I don't think it's true. I think that they just use that number in order to bait us into saying something unoptical about it.
That ship sailed.
And then they say we estimate 20,000 to 30,000 members of anti-Muslim groups. And the typical like joke about this is 6 million, more like 200 to 300,000.
Well,
that's
you know
the
what?
typical meme, right?
You
so
know
what is going on here? I think
there's
there's a psyop here that they're trying to implement.
You know what the response needs to be from every single fucking post that anti-hate says, or anything Bernie Farber says, or anything Evan Balagord says, or these people say, any claim they make. Hey, what's your fucking source? What's the source of your fucking information? How do I know you're not lying? You have a pretty bad fucking track record, and you're claiming a lot of very aggressive stuff that's very loaded politically. It's almost like you have an agenda that you're pushing. Wow. But, you know, these people should not be able to, like, make any tweet or say anything without it's like, hey, what's your fucking source? Because it's like, oh, are you referring to yourself? Or are you referring to an anonymous fucking Twitter account? Or are you referring to some, pardon me, fat bitch professor who's like your friend and is also like some sort of like hate expert? Yeah, sounds like a fucking circle jerk. Sounds like a fucking circle jerk to push your little fucking agenda. And that's the thing. It's like they have so much pull. They have so much, you know, power just like with who they're connected to and because they fit the agenda. But it's like, they're so fucking amateur. Like, it's so fucking amateur. And their techniques are just like such cheap bullshit techniques. So annoying.
Yep.
And then what should we say? Let's say 6 million. 6 million people believe in conspiracy theories. Okay,
you do
we'll put
know
in that number.
You do know that in that 2022 budget, they passed an anti-Holocaust denial bill law. So they passed the law. It has royal assent. So some of the jokes that you're saying right now could be considered Holocaust minimization, distortion, denial.
Absolutely. It could be. And
so you could go to jail. This is not a fucking joke anymore, Greg. Well, are you going to buck up?
And
no,
the important thing for people
I'm
to
messing
realize
with you,
too,
but it is that serious.
The most important thing for people to realize, which I drive home a lot, is the conservatives don't say shit about this.
Of course not.
They don't say fucking shit about this. And conservatives will say, the left has gone insane. They passed this legislation that's so broad and unspecific, and they could just enforce it in any way. And it's like, yeah, just like this fucking weird Holocaust denial law. You mean that? Yeah, exactly. And you're not saying shit about that. So the freedom of speech is actually getting attacked from the right wing more. They're sneaking one in on us.
Yeah, in fact, Kevin Wog, one of the conservative member MPs, he's the one who initially introduced this bill. And then it got scrapped when it got involved into the federal budget of 2022. And they used his bill, Kevin Wog, who's supposedly a supporter of the convoy, on top of that. So it's like, what's going on here?
It's very weird.
It's kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird what is going on here in Canada.
And once again, when you look around the world, things are happening in much the same way. There's Holocaust museums all across the world, and there's these anti-Semitic laws in America that have been passed recently. and they use
in Florida, yes.
Yeah, and they use this very specific definition of anti-Semitism. Well, sorry, I say it's specific, but it's literally like this huge fucking grocery list of everything that's considered anti-Semitic, and it's absurd. It is so absurd. And anyone who truly cares about freedom, anyone who truly cares about like principles and all this and consistency and like equality and all that shit, it's like, this is so not fair. Like, you know, like passing a law like this gives Jewish people like insane privilege in terms of like, you can just weaponize this anti-Semitism law and say like, hey, he doesn't like me because I'm Jewish. And it's like, no, I just don't like you because you're fucking annoying and lie, actually. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
that's how I feel about
ways.
people who lie. And then if they use Jewish organizations like the ADL or the Canadian Jewish Congress, which is what Bernie Farber used to be the head of, and now he's the head of anti-hate.
Do you know why? Because apparently that group doesn't exist anymore. Probably because Bernie Farber touched it. Just like anti-hate is going to crumble eventually because Bernie Farber touched it. And he's a crazy guy.
Yeah, well, I
Crazy
hope
guy.
that Jewish people know that they're being played, that they're being involved with lies, and that, yeah, maybe they should be the ones to disassociate. Instead of, as Bernie Farber said, that people who are supporting their rights at the Freedom Convoy to not get injected with an experimental vaccine, that they are not the ones who are walking in the footsteps of neo-Nazis, bigots, racists, and bullies, but he is the one who is literally all those things, and that other people who don't want to be associated with that, maybe they should disassociate from him. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like someone like Bernie is probably surrounded by pretty vile people, to be honest. I don't want to get into that, but it's like, I can't imagine like in the line of work he's in. It's like, like, do people know what this guy's done in the past? You know what I mean? Do they know of his, what he does for a living? Like, it's just, again, it's.
Well, let's see what some of the things that he said before, and like just recently in the last few years. I made a clip of this, and then our good friend Ferryman did a repurposing of this. This is just the last couple of years.
We need to find the tools in order to ensure that conspiracy theories that are running rampant today, Holocaust denial is one of the key conspiracy theories.
It's a
COVID
key one.
Conspiracy theories. The Great Replacement conspiracy theories. They kill. They kill. And so we need to find law that works and that will root it out, in my view, right at its very core.
There are people who support.
So a theory kills. Can you even wrap your head around that for a second? I could just say that anything that I don't like kills. Does that make it? Does that make that acceptable? Does that make that true?
It reminds me of a kid in public school who's like a compulsive liar. Of just like, no, I didn't. No, you didn't touch me. No. Conspiracy theories, they kill. They kill. Yeah, they kill. It's like, you're obviously full of shit. You can tell. So you're kind of embarrassing yourself. But like, usually when it's a kid, it's like, yeah, it's a kid. He's obviously lying. But when it's a grown man, it's a little, when they're on TV, it's like a little, it's kind of awkward. It's like, we know you're making shit up, right? We know you're just totally fucking like, it's not even hyperbole. It's just like you sound like a crazy guy.
I mean, on the YouTube videos, you could see all the comments and you could see all the downvotes. The ratio is incredible. But people need to see this and to see that this person is influencing the legislation. This person is seen as an expert. In fact, he's seen as like the head of an expert organization that oversees the experts on who gets deemed to be racist in our country, to the point where you could ice them out from any business opportunities, from any talking to the media whatsoever.
Yep. They're radicals.
All these different situations.
They're radicals, and honestly, people might not like this, but there are things that perhaps Bernie Farber and anti-hate does that we could embody that would help us. And I mean that by being like totally uncompromising and totally like almost insane with like kind of like what we want to push, right? Because like although these people are, you know, the total pains in our side, there is a sort of like radical activism about them where it's like they are just going to push forward no matter what to try and like make it happen however they can. I don't agree with their tactics. I don't like that they're dishonest. I don't like that like so many things about them. But I'm kind of in awe of like how like hardcore they are to try and like, you know, do whatever they can for their cause, I guess, even though I completely fucking disagree with it.
Mm-hmm.
This protest, because it began as a demonstration against cross-border vaccine mandates. They are not extremists, but they don't want the government to dictate what they should or should not do. What do you say to those people?
They are marching in the shoes of neo-Nazis. They are giving support and succor to racists and bigots and bullies. Let them come and protest the actual health issues, but they have to understand that by doing so, they have actually walked in the shoes of bullies, racists, bigots, and Nazis.
You said
this so-called convoy actually seeded the ground, in my opinion, for the worst display of Nazi and racist propaganda that I have ever seen in this country.
And I want people to understand once again that these people, specifically Bernie Farber, is involved with crafting the legislation that's going to come to us unless we do something to stop this.
Yeah, he's an unhinged radical guy, really. Like he's this again kind of like speaks to how much we're losing, because you know, there's so many right-wing people who try to cope and they try to say like, oh no, Poilievre's gonna fight the CBC, he's gonna fight the CBC, guys, he's gonna defund the CBC, even though he totally cucks to the CBC most of the time. He's always trying to like, you know, concern troll and not be too aggressive, or it doesn't even, yeah, you know the whole thing with Poilievre. Meanwhile, there's someone who's dictating speech laws who's like, anyone who thinks conservatively is a neo-Nazi and a bigot and a horrible person, really. This is one of the worst people, the dregs of society. It's like you have someone dictating speech laws, dehumanizing anyone who has any sort of conservative value or idea. That's how bad we were fucking losing here. And it's like, oh, well, maybe if we compromise more. No, nope. That's how we got here, guys. That's how we got here. And now we have a lunatic like Bernie saying, oh, do you have some conspiracy theory about vaccines? Yeah, that idea is going to kill people. Very ironic, of course. But yeah, it's quite the thing. I think that we need to celebrate this kind of win that we're having with Hategate, but realize it's going to be a long battle ahead. And definitely don't get cocky, because what's happened at Anti-Hate, it's just going to go somewhere else. It's like chopping off a head of the Hydra and then two more grow back. There's Hatepedia that's already popped up. And and actually this is happening in the States or with Twitter as well, where all ADL is getting exposed, but there's already another organization that's like approving people to be banned on Twitter. So it's like, okay, so it's already shifted to everyone just fucking changed the label on their office at ADL, and now they're a new organization and nothing's fucking changed. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a new website that's exactly like Anti-Hate pop up, because we've actually seen this pattern in Canada throughout history. The RCMP ruins their reputation in a certain period of time, then they start CSIS, right? Like if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it was Derek who told me this, that's part of the logic of starting CSIS was, wow, we really ruined the RCMP's reputation this decade, so we need to start something new to, you know, start fresh. And I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens with Anti-Hate, where it's like, okay, our reputation's been smeared and slandered because we got caught. Let's start a new organization. And Hatepedia already exists. And also, like, you know, they benefit from just kind of, like I said, throwing so much stuff at the wall. They have like not the CCFR, Canadian Race Relations Foundation, I think CRRF. And that's very similar. They're trying to get in there, an angle to like take speech away. by basically victimizing minorities as much as possible. They make victim porn. But yeah, they're going to look for any angle they can. And like I said, this is not winning the war by any means. We're doing good in this battle right now, but it's we got to stay diligent. And a huge part of the solution is saving Joe, saving people like Joe, and empowering people to be more aggressive and to bring in 1 million March for Children. I'm hoping, best case scenario, that them kind of rejecting the rainbow flag completely is kind of an escalation of rhetoric that I welcome, because it's time to criticize the LGBTQ plus guys. How long are you going to wait to criticize the LGBTQ plus? They're literally sterilizing children in schools. They're sending them to drag camps. Is it time to criticize gay people yet? Yeah, I think it is. I think, how long are you going to wait here? Did you see the ad in freaking New Zealand? There's this disgusting public service announcement in New Zealand that said, "Hey, gay people, don't ask if anyone has HIV. Just have sex. Don't ask anybody if they're HIV positive." It's fucked up, man. RuPaul's Drag Race, all of the rainbow flags everywhere. They have all this popularity. They're trendy right now. And normies, so many people believe this religion of "Thou must not criticize anything a gay person says or does." So many people obey this like unofficial religious rule, this retarded rainbow dogma. So many people, can't criticize gay people. It's the stupidest fucking thing ever. And then, of course, you have gay people, trans people acting like fucking doing all sorts of weird shit. And they have this like layer of protection. Oh, you can't criticize me. That's hate. So we need to start dismantling this little by little, by slowly, getting more aggressive and being more brave. And knowing that we're in the right, that these people lie. These people lie. These people are doing the wrong thing. We need to get whipped by, these names. That's part of the path forward, is getting more mud slung at us, because they're not going to go down without a fight. And they already have this huge infrastructure of calling us names. But it's, as we're seeing with Hategate, it's possible to dismantle this. It's very possible to dismantle this. And, it's just, I'm looking at the forecast. It's just total vindication. It's just more and more vindication for people like us. All we got to do is kind of just stay on the ball, keep supporting each other, keep inspiring each other, and, funding each other when we can, and supporting each other's work, and trying to bring more people into the fold. It's not about like, hey, let's be welcoming for everybody. But with something like the Million March for Children, it's like, well, hopefully we can help them learn the ropes. Us Diagolon people who have been canceled, we've been through the ringer. We can tell you, hey, oh, you got canceled? Yeah. Welcome to the club, buddy. Don't worry about it. Don't freak out. Okay, I'm your friend here. This is how we can work together. This is where we have commons. This guy, yeah. I got to eat, man.
No,
I haven't had dinner yet.
You said it perfectly. That was an epic rant. And yes, we do need to support each other. This Million Man March, I was kind of skeptical, although I do not want to see people who are supporting the right thing when it comes to like children being protected in schools, and also fighting back against this gender ideology in schools. I do not want to see them get mogged, get outnumbered by like trans and CUPE, like union protesters, these freak shows that they're funded by the government. Now, at the same time, it's like the larger these things get, and the more like different organizations and different people, different groups of people get involved with it, it's like we have no control over. And yes, if we are involved, like us specifically as people who are actually over the target on many things like mass immigration and other things like that, like Diagolon is, they will specifically target us. So I can understand why you don't want to walk into something that's going to be like targeted, that's going to be like a honeypot, like a January 6th type situation. So that's why I say, if you're going to go into this kind of thing, like have your wits about you, stay with like, I think North of Nothing did a really good post about this on his Telegram, but he was saying like stay with groups of like 4 or 5 people, make sure you stay away from like altercations, physical altercations, make sure you stand back and are filming things.
Yes.
Right? Be the observer. Be the one, and your camera is your weapon at this point, because there are going to be people who are going to try to instigate you with on things, and there's going to be a lot of people probably on either side who fall for it, and they get involved in altercations. And you don't want to be one of those people. If you're going to be responsible but also effective activist, you don't want to get caught up in those kinds of things, because they're going to try to go after you if you are effective. And even if you're not effective, they're going to go after you, because then you're an easy target, and then they could rake you over the coals. So
that's really good advice. Your camera is your sword and your shield. It's the best defense. It's the best.
And watch your six. Never relax. And stay with your friends, and don't go looking for trouble.
Be spatially aware and make sure you're not getting surrounded. Like watch your six, make sure you're not getting surrounded, especially if there's a lot of them. Like sometimes they'll do this thing where they encircle you and it's just like retarded. So yeah, spatial awareness is key, and yeah, be in a group. And yeah, keep a cool head, honestly, keep a cool head, because it's, they're really good. They're really good at, like, pissing people off and annoying people. And I do want to say, like, I was saying encouraging words about a million, or like, hopeful words about Million March for Children. But I still do agree with like the criticisms we were talking about. Like, it is still important, iron sharpens iron. We need to keep kind of being critical of each other as well, to see where we can improve, or to see, how it can just be more effective. And because yeah, it's like it's like the tolerance is about, like, our tolerance is about, like, bringing people into our fold and like helping them be more effective and actually doing stuff. It doesn't mean tolerate all the stupid bullshit that the right wingers are doing that's actually not helping us. On the contrary, we do need to call that stuff out and be like, stop doing that. Like, let's try to be more productive here. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but I think people know what I mean. Like, it's not about, there's actually too much of like, we need right-wing unity. Like, why can't we all just right-wing unity? It's like the only thing we need to be unifying around is winning on very specific, like, fronts. Everything else, I might not even like you. You know what I mean? Like, I might not even like the people I'm protesting with necessarily. But it's like, as long as we can be effective and get shit done, then that's great. I'm your friend. You know what I mean? So,
well, I would say ultimately just be safe. And yes, we need to support the causes that we believe in. I would also say that this topic there's a lot of attention to it. We need to put more attention to free speech, like we're doing with this Hategate thing, with this hashtag
my
ban
God,
can
I
thing.
just had the greatest vision of all time. Hold on. Things are really going to change when Jeremy gets off of his, like, being stuck inside all the time, because then he can start doing live events, bringing people out, and eventually, mark my words, eventually there will be a Diaga Bowl that's in an actual stadium. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine an actual fucking Diaga Bowl in a stadium? All we need is, we just got to get Jeremy out there in front of the microphone, getting people out, and it's like, this is country saved. That's it.
Yeah,
it's all up to you, Jeremy. No, I don't know.
I could really see a massive surge of, just in real life attendance and support, and the left would try to shut it down, but I don't think there's anything they could do about it.
Well,
I think cooler heads will prevail.
Yeah, cooler heads will prevail, and I'd really admire Jeremy for his perseverance going through all that bullshit. I was talking about like getting whipped with all the whips of the different names, but like Jeremy was getting whipped with like basically a fucking BB gun, or like whatever the escalation beyond a whip would be. It's like, okay, we're gonna charge you with all this stuff. Okay, we're gonna like, the amount of shit that they threw at him was incredible, and he was able to withstand all of it, and he kept streaming, kept talking, kept fucking fighting, and yeah, that was super inspiring. I don't know where I was going with that, but
no,
something about being
no, you're 100% right. And once we could get more in real life stuff with that kind of like a tour like that going, but we could do that in our own communities too. And like,
True.
I'm just starting with using my talents to
Mhm.
how I can like effectively make some kind of change, right?
Yes.
I could put myself
Yeah.
out there. But
I remember-
yes, do that in your communities too. And I will keep on networking with people who I see fit within my community. So
Yeah.
it'll go
I remember
from
what I was
there.
going to say. I remember what
You
I
have
was
to
gonna
be careful because, you know, there's going to be infiltrators and there's going to be people who want to see us done dirty. And that's
That's a
why
great
I
point.
am skeptical about this million march for children. Where are the millions of people? Are there
is-
only 4 children? How
It
many
is a-
children are we protecting? 4? I don't know. That's kind of
I
weird.
love you, Edgy, but the 4 thing is not that funny, bro.
It's like, what the
It's
fuck
not
is
that
it?
funny. Oh, because the 4 is in the hashtag. Is there only 4 children? It's like such a dad joke. Well, there are only 4 children. There's 4.
You
in the
know, it's
hashtag.
worse than that. You know, some of the people who are involved with that are total retarded boomer waffen who would go and like scream at people that they're pedos and like there's like the children are in children are in elementary schools and litter boxes. They're literally cats. All the kids are cats, and you know we gotta be.
And part of it, okay, listen,
that's
I
pretty
don't-
funny, but
yeah, I don't disagree with you, but part of the solution is going to be to kind of better groom these people. No, to better kind of like
Groom.
try to push these people in the right direction. You know what I
Groomer.
mean?
Yeah,
you know, because it's like
you gotta groom.
I don't want to
groom
offend
the boomer.
anyone, but it's like you
Yeah.
know maybe the freedom fighter movement is rough around the edges. Maybe they can be very cringe and ineffective and blah 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 blah. But a lot of them will follow. A lot of them will follow if the thing is organized well or whatever. And I think that there's like an opportunity to like, you know, ideally try to coach these people or kind of, you know, corral the boomers, get the kind of shepherd's cane out and like, okay, guys, come over here. Don't dress like that. What are you doing? I don't think you should be here right now. I don't know why you're dressed like that. It's kind of weird. But anyway, maybe eventually that will happen. The other thing, the point that I dropped that I just picked up was it's going to be very, very important to like champion Hategate moving forward and Diagolon, because there's so much lore and meaning associated with these two things that reflect the deep corruption of the country and also the real fight against these like far left globalists and how they operate. You know, like there's so much like packed into Diagolon and Hategate that just like it's kind of like a North Star. It kind of explains the whole story. And the more we can like represent Diagolon despite the smears, like that's super effective because it's disruptive. It's a whole red pill, right? Because they're gonna meet someone who's like part of Diagolon or likes Diagolon, and people will be like, "Oh, I thought that was like the conspiracy. I thought that was like the terrorist," and then they'll be like, yeah, no, bro, like, nah, you were misled. That didn't happen. You got lied to, bro. And that can be the beginning of many people's red pill journey. So I think, you know, I don't need to tell people to keep representing Hategate and Diagolon, but like really it's going to have staying power.
Well, I think
and
one thing
hate that. They hate
that. All I could really think of is we're thinking of things each and every day to, you know, try to maintain free speech here in Canada. Whether it's like making a documentary, whether it's like making a video that's going to be very hard hitting, whether it's, you know, captivating upon a couple of good hashtags or trending topics that are going on, we're going to try to stay on top of that as much as possible. And we're, as usual, like, this affords itself so much to like being comedic and stuff, because free speech is comedic. Because when you are making jokes about the powerful, it's just so easy. I can just say the word Jew, and then they'll all just crumble and call me an anti-Semite and say that I'm not worthy of being retweeted. That's literally what happened today. Joe Warming, Joe, we could save you, Joe. That's literally all it took. Is probably someone, like probably Ezra, went into his DMs and said like, oh, maybe you shouldn't retweet that like whether it was me or Jeremy was the anti-Semite, somebody was an anti-Semite, and then Joe had to delete the tweet.
It's crazy how powerful that word is.
Yeah. Why is
Christian.
that the most
Christian.
powerful word? Why
Muslim.
is the ADL the most
Doesn't
powerful?
have the same effect. Doesn't
No,
have the
yeah, yeah.
That's so curious.
I don't
That's
know.
so curious.
I don't know. I want to read the last of the super chats, and I think we could wrap it up here. We've had a really good stream. I think we've gotten all the information out. We've told people that, yes, Bill C11 is one of the biggest anti-free speech things that's going on, but it's much more than that. There was Bill C36 where they really try to get one in, but now the big thing is formerly the Online Harms Bill. It's now the Online Safety Act. And they're going to implement it God knows when. Who knows when they're going to implement it, but they want to have a digital safety commissioner. I call it a digital safety commissar. And our friends at Wiretap Media, they have shown that Evan is explaining what he means by this.
Oh, wow. Evan's involved. That's so not surprising.
Infiltrate neo-Nazi groups so as to expose them and shut them down.
Okay, so this is probably the wrong video, but I know that Wiretap Media has one where he talks about being the digital safety commissioner. So if you want to give any extra words, I could find it pretty quickly.
What the fuck is digital safety, man? The rhetoric they're trying to push into the internet is so annoying. And once again, we've seen examples of this coming up over the years.
Yeah, here it is.
Internet censorship bullshit.
The director of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. I'm not an academic. So my name is Evan Balgord. I'm the executive director of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. I'm not an academic. I'm not an academic. And then finally, I'm going to talk to you about one solution that I think actually some of the civil liberties folks can get on board with, and that's an online safety ombudsperson. The mandate of the ombudsperson would be to hear complaints from victims, but not to look at the individual ones, but to look at it as a piece of a larger problem, to investigate the practices of social media companies and issue recommendations. The ombudsperson in their office would have broad investigatory powers. They could compel evidence and testimony from social media companies and take a hard look at algorithms and business practices. They would, of course, need to be well-resourced. If we had an ombudsperson that had access to this information in real time and could do their own investigations, they could, for example, issue a timely recommendation that the company has to undo an algorithmic change that incentivized angry, divisive posts and misinformation. Instead, hundreds and thousands of people were being radicalized into the far right, estranging them from their families. Movements were recruiting people on Facebook that would culminate in murders and mass murders.
So that's what they think about you and your beliefs, that you're complicit in mass murders, and that's why they need to censor you. These fucking people, man.
He's reading a script.
Oh,
and
of course.
I wonder where it came from. Did you write that yourself, buddy? Did you write that yourself, bud?
Right.
Did you write that all by yourself? Yeah, I mean, it's like, again, we know how bad faith these people are, right? Like we know how they will not hesitate to just take something so grossly out of context. They don't give a shit. But we're supposed to believe them now, right? But we're supposed to believe them now. And no, now we're doing the right thing. Now we're going to be honest. Now we're actually going to try to stop the hate. When we smeared all those people's reputations, we were, we were, I guess we just got it wrong that time. I guess we just wrongfully smeared that person's reputation. But when we're trying to take your freedom of speech away on all these other reasons, we're totally legit.
Incidents that are threatening our democracy, like January 6th and the Ottawa occupation.
Oh, that's another thing I could.
Now, if a company doesn't want to follow,
sorry, go ahead.
They said democracy, pro-democracy. I've seen this guy say so many things about being pro-democracy recently, and these clips from Wiretap, which is a good new platform coming out there. He's making good edits, but I posted a video on my channel, like, I don't even know, like a year ago now, because I got this ad on Facebook about, hey, like racism online or like hate online. It was some like dumb survey from the government of Canada. And I'm an autistic who cares about freedom of speech in Canada, like yourself, Edgy. So I'm like, I better look into this. I better look into this weird memo, this weird survey. Long story short, it gates you out if you don't think that the government should be policing hate on the internet. It doesn't even let you take the fucking.
So is that what anti-hate is using? Like maybe the Abacus data poll, or different kinds of companies polling companies that can give, you know, the firm, the company, the NGO or whatever that hires them, the result that they want in order to get the result that their NGO wanted in the first place.
Yeah, how to lie with statistics. You know, it's not that hard to craft a survey to try and manipulate the conclusions you're going to get. And I did a whole video on it. If you want to go watch it, it's kind of long, but it's like basically once you say yes to the survey, every single answer is, which of these menu items, which of these powers do you think the government should have? So like there is no like not giving power to the government. Every single answer is about giving power to the government. It's like, well, how about tracking their social insurance number? How about looking where they live? How about looking in their communities? How about like law enforcement stuff? It's just like, hey, what powers should we give to the government to stop hate? This was literally the whole survey. But the point I was getting at is, it's all connected, by the way. Like the organization, like through 1 or 2 points of separation, I'm sure Evan Balgord was connected to the survey. Could even be 0 points of separation, for Christ's sake. But the totally twisted part of this survey is just how congruent and precisely aligned it was with far left politics. You know, who can be racist? Like, white people can't be racist. Who can be hateful? I mean, white people are hateful. Like every other group, that, you know, they're just the victims here. And they even have they say, you know, pro-democracy. Like, what would you prefer? Pro-democracy, this, that, and the other, like love and acceptance, or like neo-Nazism and like white supremacy. So it's like, okay, interesting. So it's not like democracy and fascism, or like democracy and like some other system, authoritarianism. It's democracy or white supremacy. Like this is the way they frame it. They frame it in this super dishonest anti-white way, where it's like, and it's like so funny to hear Evan Balgord talk about being pro-democracy. It's just more of the bullshit. It's more of the lies. It's another thing of like, we're stopping hate, we're pro-democracy, we're anti-hate. Go fuck yourself. You're liars. And well, we're you know, the receipts are coming out, and like, look, like, wow, you really are a fucking lying piece of shit, aren't you? So you know, we'll see you around.
Well, we know that they're lying, and like them citing democracy is nothing new. That's the main tagline for all of like the mainstream media. Like Joe Biden, he'll say that white supremacy is the biggest threat. Like they all say it, and it's not everything. Just anti-hate. It's a top-down systemic problem, and they want to say that like white people are systemically privileged. Like, no, it's literally the exact opposite.
White people are systemically privileged, and that's exactly why white people cannot get a job at CBC based on their hiring.
But one of the main things I want to show in this clip here is him talking about a digital safety.
The ombudsperson's recommendation. The ombudsperson could be empowered to apply to a court to make it an order. And this is where the court could apply 2 tests. First, is the order consistent with the goals of the ombudsperson? And second, so like, is it within their mandate? Are they, to make sure they're not overstepping, right? Second, does the order stand up to the scrutiny of the charter and of previous rulings? Now, that's where groups like the CCLA and victims advocacy groups could intervene and make arguments to the court. The court would make decisions like that rather than having them kind of dictated by the government. We prefer this solution, and we're finding it popular because everything's done in the open, there's due process, and politicians aren't really involved. But the ombudsperson framework has some significant advantages. Unlike a complicated complaints-driven mechanism, this ombudsperson office can be stood up quickly, right? We can actually have something in place in a year. It's arm's length from the government. Decisions are made by the courts, and it does away with all of these contentious issues that really bog down the technical paper and got us all scratching our heads.
So they want to make it so that there's like a specific like ombuds person, and if you look at the Online Safety Act and what they're proposing, it's like they want a digital safety commissioner to be able to say whether you could say something online or not. And if they want to shut it down, like they want to make it so that every specific social media platform in Canada, anyone posting in Canada, they have to go through like basically, what do you call it in China when you have like a firewall? It's almost like a firewall in Canada of, can you say this in Canada? Well, the
filter.
Digital Safety Commissioner and the Ombudsman are going to jerk each other off over whether that was hateful or not, and then people like Evan Balgord in Anti-Hate are going to be the hate experts to tell you whether that was okay to say or not, and they know who all the bad apples are, right? Because hate is so complex. There's irony poisoning. There's stochastic terrorism. And in fact, that's what they try to use to impugn Diagolon. They said Diagolon, ultimately, when Evan really admitted it, he said that like Diagolon were stochastic terrorists because Jeremy Mackenzie's things that he says that were actually satirical were actually very mean, and they could inspire violence because they had like a bad attitude to them. He was a bad apple, really. Even though he wasn't actually telling people. In fact, he was telling people to do the exact opposite of violence, as we saw in that edit that I did. But he tries to use that as a justification, so he tries to sneak by this stochastic terrorism argument into legislation, into the media, without telling them that, hey, this is just an argument, like a new theory that we have about stochastic terrorism, where if you say mean things on a podcast that we don't like, that means that you're inspiring people with your bad attitude to go and commit violence, even though you didn't actually tell them to do that. You could have even told them to do the exact opposite, but we still think that you're a bad apple, and that you're stochastic terrorist vibes.
Dude, it's like
that is what the literal definition of an I am ideologically motivated violent extremism. They try to stretch that to include stochastic terrorism. That is what somebody like Anti-Hate is trying to do, but they use like sleight of hands to say no, it's actually like super dangerous and people are going to do it. Okay, here's one thing that blew my mind is that some of these Antifa people on Twitter, they were saying that when Caryma dropped this Hategate stuff, that, it's really weird timing that Caryma Saad would drop this Hategate scandal at the same time that Nathan Veldman, the guy who ran over a Muslim family, that he is being actually, like, he's being examined in court, like, and all of this is being published and broadcast to everybody. Now, at the same time, I would say is like, who claims Nathan Veltman? Now, you hear about this guy. Like, this is a worst case scenario of a guy who's just psycho. He thought that he should go run over a Muslim family based on his own testimony because he thought he was doing something good for, like, the white race or something. I've never met anyone in my life who agrees that that is in any way acceptable. If anything, one of the most deplorable things that you could do. And for them to try to connect that to that, and I say one thing, who connects that kind of action to, like, the rhetoric that we're saying? There's no right-wing people that see any connection to a guy like that. There's no right-wing people that I have ever met. The only people who make a connection like that is these left-wing radicals like Anti-Hate, who try to push that upon us and cause that division.
Yeah, it's
it's like Anti-Hate is almost with them more than they're with, like, they try to put that on us. Nobody on our side has co-signed anything like that. I've never met anyone who even comes close to something like that. Yet they want to push that on us? Who are they, and why are they so involved with people like that and trying to push that kind of rhetoric and trying to push that upon everybody else? That's a really weird thing to think about.
Yeah, and it's, obviously it's dishonest. They're lying. But when you do something like that, this took such a toll on me.
Because
honestly.
they're making us seem like that guy. So then what does that justify against us?
Well, of course. Yeah, no, it is villainizing. It's saying, hey, oh, you have this fairly mundane political belief. I think you want to run over a Muslim family with a car. And it's like, really? For criticizing the amount of mass migration that happens? Like, that's a stretch. And but like this tactic, it's happened to a lot.
This is fundamental to their beliefs and why they go on this like 100% no platforming kind of strategy that they do.
I really don't think it's actually part of their beliefs. I feel like the people up there, it's part of their tactic.
Their tactic, they don't really believe it because it's ridiculous.
But they know it's their most useful sort of strategies. It's hey, guilt by association. Hey, ad hominem attack. Hey, just connect these two dots that aren't connected. Just be hyperbolic and say that you basically want to murder people. Oh, conspiracy COVID. They kill. It's like you're just trying to put a violent word next to a popular idea. That's all you're doing, and it really does take a toll on you, because I don't share this often, but like after the 2019, when I was like running for PPC, I remember it like after being accused of being a Nazi, being a this, being a that, it is just name calling and it's stupid and like we need to get over it, but it really does take a toll on a person because part of you believes it because part of you has a monkey brain, and aside from that, I was in like a church full of people at a debate, and it's like you have all these people looking at you and thinking you're like this monster, and like thinking that you're not just like one of these labels, but like thinking that you're like the worst type of person. And how did you get in that situation? You got into that situation of feeling like you're some monster because these people told such a horrible, twisted lie. That's where it came from. It came from these horrible, twisted lies, these deceptions. And the devil, it's like it translates to deceiver, like the great deceiver or the deceptor or whatever the fuck it is. And it's like, I don't know. I'm getting really into like, Christian ideas and stuff. And like the more and more I look at like what paints society, it's like, it's these fucking liars, man. It's these people who completely distort the truth in this twisted way into this twisted knot. And it's hard to untie it. And, it causes a lot of fucking problems, And, I don't know where I'm going with this. Like, I guess I just want to emphasize that these lies really are vile and so like annoying. And I guess like, it's easy to say, hey, like, don't be affected by it. But it's super hard to deal with, especially when people are so fucking gullible too. That's what's really annoying. It's like these apolitical types who will just be like, well, the CBC told me that it's racist and he does want to kill those Muslim people. It's like, well, of course the CBC said
Well, the
that.
thing is that they put pressure on people who have like connections to institutions. And if you could try and sever that from your friends, and then try to use those severances to push people apart, right? Because, if you get fired from your job, then you're right. Isolated again. You're right. Alienated. So it's just them trying to alienate anybody who has a barrier to entry. So groups like Anti-Hate and why it's an effective strategy to go against them specifically is because they're the ones who are alienating people and creating a barrier to entry from people who actually care about what's going on. Because people are afraid to speak up, and it's because of this cancel culture. Now, yes, you may get called out by your friends and your family or by somebody at work if they see your Facebook post, but especially when it comes to somebody who wants to say, hey, maybe I'm going to go a bit further. I'm going to try to make a couple more videos, and then I'm going to link up with these other people who are doing that. Then you're taking a step outwards from that, and they're going to make that barrier to entry really hard, and they're going to try to make you lose everything if you're in any way effective.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to go after these people. And that's, like, just think about how left-wing activists are able to organize, and they're able to... like, you could have the CUPE organizer saying, we're going to go and film everybody's license plates, and we're going to get ready to, like, basically fight off these homophobes, as they say it, or transphobes, or whatever, right? They could openly say this, yet if we try to organize anything like that to say, hey, I want you to be cognizant, I want you to go off and film anything, make any good content you can, speak your piece about it, say that you don't want this trans ideology in your school, they'll call you a homophobe, they'll try to get you fired from your job, and they're able to do that because they have the weight of the system on their back, and that's why it's a systemic problem, right? So it's hilarious that they say that, like, white privilege is part of your systemic privilege, when literally they have the whole system behind, like, tearing you down if you don't believe what they're saying when they tell you you have white privilege. You need to shut up and let BIPOC speak. In fact, there was that teacher who ended up, that principal or teacher who ended up... Yeah, let the BIPOC speak, or else you're literally racist.
Sit down, straight white man.
Yeah,
it's over for you.
Yep. So I don't know. I think we went over everything tonight. This was a great stream. I want to read the last of the super chats and then kind of lead us out.
Wait, can I hop in real quick? What was I going to say?
Yeah.
Oh, you were saying, like, that's why we have to go after these people as an anti-hate, and I think that, like, the key thing I will, like, change to that is we're going after them to make an example of them to show everybody else. Like, the important thing is to show everybody else, like, this is why you do not need to be afraid of being called these names. It always comes from these liars. They're hyperbolic. They're far left. Like, they're not hate experts. You know, like, look at how, like, we need to humiliate them and make them a punchline, because that is going to empower regular people to break out of the shackles, to break off of the plantation. This is a reference to Home Alone. Remember Home Alone? There's a scene in Home Alone, the first one, we'll recall.
Also because it's fun, says Nathan.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in Home Alone where he's, like, afraid of, like, a creepy neighbor with a shovel or something, and he gets up and he's like, "You hear me? I'm not afraid anymore. You hear me? I'm not afraid anymore." Like, he gets up, he, like, runs out, he's, like, yelling, speaking out, and that's what we need. We need people to not be afraid anymore, to actually just be honest. Because just think about, if you were to talk to, like, the average conservative, so many of them will be like, "Oh, well, yeah, mass migration's kind of a thing," and da-da-da, or like, "Yeah, I think this, like, transgender stuff." Even, like, the centrist people would probably say the same thing. They would say, "Hey, like, yeah, I don't, but I'm not going to say anything about it." "Oh, why? Why are you not going to?" Because I have, like, a freak loser, leftist friend who's part of my family. Like, what's the fucking? It's this weird social pressure. It's a social pressure. And to be fair, that has existed in Canada in a long time. It's been a big problem. This sort of, like, don't ruffle any feathers. Oh, what will they think? But we need to. This needs to be the beginning of dispelling that fear. And being like, hey, it's okay to just be yourself. And I think comedy is going to be a big part of it, because it needs to become popular. It needs to become, this thing that people gravitate towards. Shout outs to Danger Cats, because I think they can really be instrumental in that. They'll make fun of anyone and everyone. And we need to just have fun again. Let's have some fun. Like, it's so stuffy in Canada, and it's been stuffy and getting stuffier ever since I started to join politics with Trudeau in, like, 2019. And we need to start pushing back against that, because people want to loosen up. They want to loosen up, and we just got to find the right way to do it, to crack the code. And part of that is by donating to the EdgeStream, to Edgy D, for more of his epic editing skills.
Well, I appreciate your plug there, and I have to read the donations that I haven't read yet. We're so overlogged on donations. I think we're about $12,000 or $13,000 deep in donations right now. Anti-hate, Evan Balgord, and Burning Father are seething so hard right now. I'm just raking in the money. Dr. Jenstein says, please tickle Jeremy. Please tickle Jeremy's balls again, my slut whore. You know what? I'm making so much money that I don't need to whore myself down in order to fucking make that joke again. But I appreciate it, Jenstein. You're always appreciate your support, man. Satoshi Ape says, got to go, bigots. But here, take my money to enrage anti-hate. Bomb, gun, knife, rope.
Nice.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. And we have Jenstein again saying, we need more symbols. God bless you guys. Yeah, just keep making symbols up. Just whatever meme you have, make another symbol. Hell, Edgy D, I don't know how to make a symbol out of that, but maybe I could. I appreciate the support there, though. Scott Baker saying, you guys are great together. Maybe something to consider going forward? Is this like, is he standing or shipping like a gay sex show going forward? I have no idea what he's saying here. I'm joking.
Standing shit. I don't think I want to know.
No, he's saying that we have great chemistry. You know.
Oh, okay, nice.
I was making a gay joke about it, but thanks for the conversations and encouraging a fun chat tonight. I'm sorry I had to ruin that super chat, Scott. Dr. Jenstein saying, go fuck off, Larry. I don't know who Larry is, but that's epic. Thanks for the support. I'm going to make sure I'm caught up on Rumble. And yeah. Guys, I think we had a great show tonight. We covered a lot. We got to the bottom of what is actually going on with these free speech laws in Canada. We have to be looking after the Online Safety Act, formerly known as the Online Harms Bill. They changed it because they got wrecked so hard. There was an over 1,000-page response from all different sectors of society, from Facebook, from like, it was crazy. Like, all different social media rejected Canada's proposal for anti-free speech laws so hard that they had to rename their Online Harms Bill to Online Safety Act. So the fight doesn't stop there because you know how bad their intentions were from the get-go. Like, we need to be on the ball for this.
Dude, you are so right. Like, you're talking really seriously right now, but you are absolutely right.
No one's talking about this and what they're actually doing.
No, dude. When Bill C-11 has been passed, and that's the one about the algorithms. When it was Bill C-10, Bill C-36, the one that we're talking about, which like is like really, really bad, bringing back Section 13 and all this like horrible, basically commie surveillance nonsense. You know, I was talking about it. I put together a campaign with Canada First at the time. Tyler Russell. We helped make a promo video. Max Bernier retweeted it, and it was kind of talking about how it's not just about Bill C-10. Actually, there's this other thing, Bill C-36. It'll be horrible. It'll be like, worse than China, basically. And a lot of the mainstream media had picked up the Bill C-10 stuff a little bit, but no one was talking about Bill C-36. And my greatest fear, and a huge reason why I started a controlled opposition, quite frankly, is that everyone has the rose-colored glasses for the Conservative Party. And a lot of them do right now. And then when this Online Safety Act comes in and the Conservatives don't oppose it, or they're fucking cucks, or they're bitches, or they're weak, or they're not being like nearly extreme enough with it, then we're fucked. Then it's like, oh my God, like game over for a lot of us online, because this fucking pussy conservative, compromised, morally, intellectually corrupt, globalist Conservative Party has fucked us over. And because so many people have taken the pleb bait of sitting back on the couch and like not caring. Now our country's fucked, guys. Thanks a lot. Oh, yeah, just get Trudeau out. Yeah, now we can't even speak freely online anymore because we trusted Milhouse.
You're right. And I appreciate you trying to take people's faith away from Pierre, because he deserves no faith whatsoever. He's not good faith. This is the kind of guy that uses the anti-woke moniker as something that he could siphon. He could take away votes that would be anti-establishment, that would be against the censorship, but he never expounds upon it. What do you mean by anti-woke? Pierre, I almost said Pierre Trudeau because it's literally the same guy.
Dude, this guy's not even going to talk about Hategate probably. I doubt he will, because if he talks
No, he
about
won't.
Hategate, then he has to start that fight of, oh shit, like now I need to address these smear merchants who call me names. And now we're actually having a conversation of like what's actually wrong in this country culturally, not just the policies and like the little things about money. Like now we're having a real conversation about what conservatives needs to start aggressively fighting against. Because like I said earlier, the anti-hate is the little nucleus that's totally injecting fear into people to not stand up because they're afraid they're going to get
they're foot soldiers in order to stop people who are grassroots from participating.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So they go after the bigger people, but now a lot of the bigger fights that are going on are with like Jordan Peterson, and he's like, I want to go in the I want to be able to have my psychologist license even though I don't even practice it. So maybe that is a precedent that is worth fighting for, because he should be able to keep his license despite his opinions. However, I do think it is a huge smokescreen, and these people, they'll use that as something like, hey, I talk about free speech, I'm a free speech advocate, when meanwhile the actual grassroots people who are talking about real free speech issues in regards to talking about demographic replacement, quite frankly, which is 500,000 people coming per year legally, plus all the student visas and whatnot, plus all the legals coming in beyond that, whether it's Roxham Road or any other illegal port of entry, or just coming in any other way, because apparently our borders are open, and Justin Trudeau made it that way when he announced that multiculturalism and diversity is our strength, and Canada has no real identity, I guess. So to oppose that, and everybody knows, even the people who are here, they see inflation happening at unprecedented rates. They know that they can't afford homes. They can't afford to support their families. Things are getting worse and worse. And there's a lot... This is in the back of a lot of people's heads, but they don't have the strength or any empowerment from their political officials or the media at all to say these kinds of things. So that's where we come in, and we have to give them that strength to be able to say the truth.
Yeah, if our politicians aren't going to do it, then we have to.
And we can hold them to account, but like I think it's always a good idea to hold like Pierre Poilievre and whatnot to account, but I think that's something that's more productive even is creating our own alternative institutions that are just doing it ourselves.
Yeah. It's like if the politicians aren't doing it, so we have to do it. And I've talked about this a lot in Controlled Opposition, of just like how disgusting it really is. We're at the point where we get called bigots, Nazis, racists, all these names. We get dehumanized on a regular basis every time a left-wing politician opens their mouth. What is the Conservative Party doing to stand up for us? The price of milk. It's really expensive. I'm like, Canada's broken. Bring it home. It's like, dude, people who think like us are being vilified and treated like villains on a regular fucking basis. That's not good enough. Complaining, talking about how expensive things are, that's not good enough. You are not truly fighting for me. You're actually kind of enabling it by creating almost like a false front. Like, if you can picture like a city and there's like different, like, there's like attacks from different sides. It's like, hey, everybody, let's go help Jordan Peterson over here. It's like, well, what about like this mob of rainbow people that literally want to kill us? You want me to donate to this millionaire? I don't see why the millionaire is important when these rainbow people like want to burn my house down. Doesn't seem really fucking relevant, dude. But yeah.
No, that's a good vent, and there's a lot more to be desired, because I can't honestly say you all need to donate that, like the thousands and thousands that would be going, like you guys have already donated about 30,000 to me tonight. And I know Anti-Hate, Bernie Farber, Evan Balgord are all seething because I've got about $44,000 from you guys just on Rumble and Entropy alone. And it's fucking incredible. But there's only so much I can do with that money, right? What? How do we go forward with this? It's just
we just gotta focus on the next thing, man. We gotta focus on the next thing we can do properly.
We're brainstorming here, and we're trying to get the right message out there. And I hope, as I am, you are all going into your communities and trying to keep do the right things, reaching out to your friends, finding your friends, keeping it peaceful, of course, and then taking it to the next level with activism, though, by using your free speech to your advantage.
Yeah, while we have it.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, while we have it.
Before you know
is,
it, it's going to be gone. Yes.
Yeah.
And if they're saying that you can't say something in the 2022 federal budget bill, that's probably something that you need to try out to see if you could say it.
No, yeah, I hope they do try us with new speech legislation, because that is exactly how I'm going to look at it as a creative person. It's like, okay, if this is going to be illegal soon, then I'm gonna start shit posting like extreme, I'm going to push it to the fucking line that exists. That's what's gonna be coming out of my mouth on a regular basis, because like there's no way, like that, to me, like that has to be the strategy. And we kind of know that this is the strategy based on Jeremy, you know, like it's scary to do that. It's dangerous to do that.
You have to put yourself out there.
Jeremy showed us, he's like, hey, this is the line that's already existed, which is like the real hate speech, which exists, which is like inciting violence or whatever. He never crossed that line. He danced all over the place, right along the line. Nah, like, fuck you. I know this isn't illegal. Go fuck yourself. They try to fuck with them. But because he did not compromise, because he he played chicken, it was what he said in the Viva interview. Like, because he said, no, I'm not going to back down from these fucking tyrants. They're now completely exposed and humiliated. You know, as long as we can get the right lawyers when we need them and get the right support when we need them, it's like, it's not easy. It's not fun. It's expensive. It not just ruin your life, but it almost defines your life in a way. But it's like, we saw with Jeremy that it's like that's kind of like, if you don't dance along the line and you need to force you need to
be edgy. You need to be edgy. You need to go right along that edge.
That's right.
And I think that's the perfect place to end it. Dr. Genstein says, ammo stash, food storage, restricted weapons. Appreciate your efforts tonight, boys.
This guy is the man.
Yeah, he's scrambling all the CSIS logs right now. Really appreciate it, brother. You know, 07's Genstein, man. I didn't want to cuck to his demands to make me fondle Jeremy. I have to send this to somebody else. You know, this needs to get around the world. Like, it can't just be staying at Edgy D's casa for too much longer. But I appreciate you, Genstein. I appreciate all the other generous donators here tonight. I've been working my ass off.
We also
you guys have been working your ass off and sending me your hard-earned cash, and I really appreciate it. And I'll keep on doing you guys right into the future. Trust me, for Diagolon and everything we're doing, this is just the beginning. They've unleashed a monster.
Absolutely. And we should shout out Nathan Rake Smith, who's been in chat. I've really been enjoying some of his little funny remarks. But he made a great video, obviously, explaining Hategate, which you used in your supercut, which is great. He's another great creator. That's, in the Diagolon, no. He knows what's going on. He knows what's up. And I appreciate his work.
Well, 100%. Nathan was one of the funniest guys that I used in my edits. He explained the Diagolon situation very coherently and in a very subtle comedic way. I really appreciated it.
Mm-hmm.
So 07's Nathan, man. He's a fucking gem.
And that's what happens, man. We inspire one another, and slowly but surely, you know, more people come into the fray to help out, and we just got to kind of keep banging our head against the wall and keep showing up. Easier said than done, but yeah, I'll be out there tomorrow at the Million March for Children, and there's only going to be 4 children, so we'll see what happens.
Well, make sure those 4 children are safe, and make sure those million marchers, whoever they are, whatever gender, those million marchers are on their best behavior. I don't know if Martin Luther Jr., or Louis Farrakhan Jr., Sr. is going to be there, or Rodney King. But say hello to my brothers. Peace out to my million-man marchers. You know, peace, love, and all of the above. I love
Thanks
you
for
all.
having me. Thanks for having me, Edgy.
I don't know if anybody donated on Odyssey. Odyssey is completely shit the bed for me. I can't see what's going on there. So if I missed any super chats there or any chats there, I'm sorry. But anyways, thank you so much, guys, for coming out. I appreciate having you tonight. And thank you, Greg. Thank you all the super chatters and all the people who support everything that we're doing. We appreciate you all. Love you all. Okay, peace out. Good night. I'm going to play the video out one more time.
Let's go.
Evan Balgord, Executive Director of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network.
Bernie Farber, Chair of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network.
He's a nonpartisan nonprofit.
We wear our biases on our sleeves. We are very proudly anti-fascist, and we focus on the far right.
Last summer, we had a 100-year-old church burned to the ground.
Canada's leaders aren't condemning the burning of churches. No, they're endorsing the burning of churches.
I understand that it's not your organization's mandate to talk about these things. As you've said, you're clearly focused on the far right.
COVID conspiracy theories.
Safe and effective.
They kill. They kill.
This so-called convoy actually seeded the ground for the worst display of Nazi and racist propaganda that I have ever seen in this country. Bullies, racists, bigots, and Nazis.
We now have over 300 active hate groups in Canada.
There's other groups that we're very concerned about.
Jeremy McKenzie, the de facto leader of the Diagolon movement, a neo-Nazi organization.
Accelerationists who want to violently overthrow the system.
No fighting, no spitting, no throwing anything, don't even litter.
Who are now also encouraging their members to join.
If there's a speed limit on walking, walk slower than that.
One of the key figures of that, Jeremy McKenzie, his slogan is gun or rope.
If they say it's now illegal to look at the sky, then look at the ground. Be good, for the love of God.
Do you know if the Canada Anti-Hate Network's views about you have been relied upon by law enforcement or other senior officials in the federal government?
Yes, I have.
Diagolon.
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 A far-right extremist group.
We're talking about a group that is organized, driven by an extreme ideology.
A so-called accelerationist group,
Formed by a former member of the Canadian Armed Forces.
which aims to accelerate racial conflict to lead to the eventual creation of a white ethno-state.
Its stated purpose is, quote, to incite a race war.
The federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act.
There's some people that just want their lives back. And they enact the War Measures Act, the Emergency Measures Act, to justify a violent and brutal crackdown on old people and women and wounded veterans. You beat wounded veterans in the street, you scum!
What if I told you the organization and the individuals responsible for pushing this are being exposed right now in Canada?
It all circles back to one group, and that's the Canadian Anti-Hate Network.
That is pretty fair to say.
Liberal-funded Antifa propaganda. That's what the government of Canada was making their decisions on.
You were supposed to be grown-ups, confirm things and look into things.
The RCMP recognized that Diagolon was not a criminal group, it was not a terrorist entity, and they had trouble even defining it as a group at all. This whole narrative, they knew it was bunk.
The justification of the Emergencies Act during the trucker convoy came from lies from anonymous Twitter trolls from Anti-Hate.
Uncovered in Hategate is a string of emails from government officials.
Politician goes on TV and says that, oh, there's this terrorist group involved in the convoy. Then people say, can you like back up your statement? And he says, talk to law enforcement. And then law enforcement is like, oh crap, we got to find something. So they just like spend 15 minutes Google Diagonal and come up with this hit piece.
That Global News article conveniently sources one expert. That expert is from the Canadian Anti-Hate Network.
But it's the circle jerk, this vicious circle, one person feeding fake information to another who then finances those people to provide the fake information so they can then launder it off to whomever they need to in order to justify whatever fabricated crisis they financed that never existed in the first place.
I consider it the single most embarrassing and grotesque intelligence failure in national history.